Click go live. So stay 30 seconds without saying bad words, please. I know it's only 7, but YouTube is weird. We're live. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. The Flash. Yeah.
Goldface.
Goldface, yes.
Goldface.
But oh man, I didn't put the hashtag Goldface in the description. Give me a sec. Gold.
So are we?
Are we?
Are we?
Are we?
We are.
Are we?
We actually are. Yeah.
Are we?
Are we? Are we covering the whole movie at some point, or are we just looking at videos?
I think we're just gonna look at videos because talking about the film. Firstly, it's kind of self-explanatory how bad the film is. Personally, that's my take.
I got people in chat saying like, "Oh, it turned out not so bad."
Well, there were people who said that season 8 was a return to form. So I mean, but beyond that, that film is just so boring that breaking it down would be kind of boring. I think our reaction is gonna be funnier. So whenever I get that out, that's gonna be our discussion type thing, you know. That's my take at least. But if you want to cover it, Madvika, we can. I would happily rewatch. Well, I wouldn't happily rewatch it, but I would rewatch the film in preparation for it, like I did Shang-Chi, and then lost my mind taking notes, realizing just how bad the film was. Oh boy. Anyway, aside of that, how y'all doing? How we all doing?
Goldface.
That's a good.
What is this message Jeb sent?
I don't know. Jeb's weird.
Is this a Sonic like haiku?
It's not a haiku.
It's the Lego Eggman bars.
Oh, okay.
Lego Eggman.
Yeah, there was a Sonic showcase type thing like a week or two ago. Yeah. There was Lego Eggman rapping. That's what Jeb's profile picture was for a while. Rapping. But then he played Gartic Phone, and now his profile picture is him telling I think me that I have cancer, so yeah. Anyway, recommendation corner. Tin, recommend something.
So I am going first. Well, I didn't watch much, but today I actually watched a film called Love, Simon, which you might have heard of. It was it's pretty well advertised in terms of like LGBT stories, because like I wanted to make up for the fact that I didn't watch anything really Pride-ish during Pride, because my Pride was kind of pretty bad. But yeah, I watched that, and actually I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, because I heard people say it's not that good, but it was pretty good.
I think TC told me about that film, said he liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty good, actually. I guess the general sort of premise, if you haven't heard it, is that like it's about this closeted teenager in high school who like finds out that someone else is at a school is gay, but they revealed it anonymously, and so they start messaging anonymously, and it's like the struggles of trying to appease, trying to stay in the closet in that, and the general sort of gay story basically, and from that it's actually pretty good. Actually, I will say it came out in 2018, so it's a little cringily dated. Like the moment I realized it was pretty dated was when a character was a Game of Thrones fan. I was like, well, when did this come out? Oh, before the finale. Yeah, but it's pretty good. Although I will say, the biggest surprise of the whole film was when I realized Wally is in this film. As in the guy who plays Wally on the CW.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool. I'm pretty sure it was made by like a CW guy, right? Because I remember.
I recognized one of the names.
Yeah, because I remember when TC told me, he said, "Well, oh yeah, it's directed by Greg Berlanti." Yeah. Yeah. It's I remember when TC told me, he said the dialogue's a bit cringy because it's directed by Greg Berlanti, and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
That checks out.
Yeah,
it is a little cringe, but like it's nowhere near as egregious as the other sort of LGBT sort of Netflix shows you get. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as egregious, but like, I'd say it's pretty good. So I definitely recommend it.
Cool beans. Jeb, recommend something. It's gonna be Indiana Jones 5. Go on, Jeb.
It's not, even
No.
though I don't even though I don't have negative feelings toward that film like others, it seems. But that's a take for another day. Um, I haven't really done anything. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna recommend for the 50th time, Ages of Shield.
That's fair.
It's the only thing to spin on the TV. For those that watch us and yet still don't know what Ages of Shield, I guess those that came from Advocates that may not know. This was a Marvel show that came about just after the events of the Avengers, where Coulson dies. It's a spin-off show leading him and a team that he's formed, and it's the best Marvel content that's not Legion.
Hmm.
So
Smile
it's
on
better
my
than
face.
it's better than Daredevil. I am 100% dying on that hill. It is
I
better than
agree.
Daredevil.
I'm putting in chat the link to our stream where we talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you guys are interested in something a little bit more in depth.
It's like the perfect. It's what the MCU Phase 4 wants to be, is essentially how I'm describing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. currently. So, for example, you got Secret Invasion, and that's taken a lot of cues from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mission that they do, along with arcs such as the
Season 4.
LMDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Season 4. The LMDs, and even the Inhumans to an extent, with them being treated as a threat, even though they're refugees. Well, there's Zod, about time.
Yeah. Zod said, I should be on time today, and then 7 minutes late, there they are. Anyway, Jeff, go on.
My favorite thing about the show is, aside from the characters, of course, is its attention to world building. The only thing I've seen that has a strong world building is Russell T Davies' Doctor Who. All the threads, and I mean all of them, get paid off in some sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
You are always rewarded for paying attention and remember details. Mostly in season 5.
Yeah, there's just one single loose thread that they don't pay off in the show.
And even though we've come to the conclusion that is a bit of a dubious one that they wanted to pay off. And he does actually appear in season 4 anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's there. But yeah, the world building is insane, especially in how it incorporates the MCU concepts and puts it to the small screen. So take, for example, the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is the inciting incident for season 2 onwards. It forever changes the landscape of the show, and when it hits that moment, you're not leaving it. You're not leaving the show.
Yeah.
The ramifications you feel all the way up to season 7. It's insane. Especially with the fates of certain characters, which I won't spoil. Then you got, for example, Civil War and how it handles the Sokovia Accords. It actually explores on what happens when you've breached them properly.
Well, yeah, it expands on the Accords in a way that makes
Just
so
like
much.
Civil War.
It expands on the Accords in a way that makes so much more sense than it ever did in Civil War. To a point where every time I watch Civil War, I was like assuming that the rules from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. apply to the film just because they make more sense than what they say in the film. But if you take the film as it is, the rules are really stupid. The Accords themselves are really stupid.
You don't know writing.
Yeah.
I just saw someone that wasn't too happy with it after the Hydra Planet season. I'm really interested as to why. Because when I watched it, it was on the lower end of the seasons for me, but on rewatch, there are so many little details to it that it's kind of fucking insane. At how good it's with the setup and payoffs.
Someone asked if we're gonna talk about Secret Invasion. There's a very small likelihood that we will. We probably won't. Jeb's the only one watching it, and like, I really don't think I am gonna care enough to watch it. Jeb telling me about it is enough for me, honestly.
I'm gonna make the statement now. We're not covering it. It does not warrant the stream. It's based on these 2 episodes. It's some of the most boring, bland shit I've ever seen, and it makes Nick Fury a joke. I'm not interested. I stick to Agents of Shield Fury. I'll stick to Agents of Shield, and I'll stick to that. Only that.
Yeah.
The Secret
Maria
Invasion
Hill
is
and Agents of Shield way better than her in Secret Invasion. Don't at me.
yeah, she doesn't die in 30 seconds due to buying a conflict of interest character's trap. So, score 1 for that. Season after the Hydra Planet. So you wasn't happy with season 4?
Yeah,
You
season
need to
4 is
rewatch.
the best season.
See, you need to rewatch season 4, especially the framework arc.
Yeah, season
That's
4 is
some-
my favorite one. Anyway, Jeb, you talk too long. People will know about Agents of Shield. Shut up now. Madvika talk.
I wanna keep going.
I'm afraid you can't. Your time's up.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm gonna invade here for a second and say it's no secret that Secret Invasion is bad.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, recommend
I'm just
something.
kidding. I haven't
Madvika.
seen it. It's
Even if-
probably a masterpiece.
Even if it's your
that
own
needs a
video,
CW live
recommend
action show.
something, Madvika. Come on.
Oh, really? I can
Recommend
shill.
Agents of Shield.
I can.
You can show
I
your
can
own
shill
video.
my own shit like that.
Yeah, but like people coming to our channel because of your videos, so I think that would be kind of circular.
Let's see. I haven't watched anything new because as soon as I finished my Flash video, I started the Shazam 2 Madvu movies, which I can't recommend because that film is so fucking shit. So I haven't watched anything really that's like noteworthy. I guess like in between, like during my little breaks throughout the day, I've just been playing the classic Star Wars Battlefront 2. I guess I could recommend that, but like everybody knows about that game.
That's okay. We recommend stuff that everybody knows about. Last week, Zod recommended what was the Seven Samurai. So like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
All right, Star Wars
yeah,
Battlefront
that's the
2,
only
the
kind of
original one.
content I've I guess here's a tip that because I kind of get addicted to it because I keep replaying the instant action Mos Eisley assault mode, the one where you get to play as all like the heroes and villains and you just fuck up each other. I keep playing that as Jango Fett because he's low-key OP. Yeah, you can like fucking kill anyone in like 4 or 5 shots if your accuracy is good. So I just keep doing that.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, I guess.
Cool beans. I'm gonna recommend the new Queens of the Stone Age album. In Times New Roman. It is fucking phenomenal. If you're a fan of hard rock, it has 4 10 out of 10 songs, and the rest is a solid like 8 out of 10. So genuinely fantastic album. The 3 single it's 5 fantastic songs. It's the 3 singles, What the People Say, and the last song of the album, the one that's big, I forgot the name. But those 5 songs are fucking brilliant. They're all fucking amazing. And yeah, really recommend it. Queens of the Stone Age still as good now as it was over a decade ago, though, you know, never gonna be as good as it was when Dave Grohl was on drums, but you know, still phenomenal.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my recommendation. Zod, recommend something.
Hi.
Hi.
First off,
Meeting
I
you.
recommend not being late for the stream.
That's a good recommendation. I also approve.
And in terms of media, though, what I saw recently was Creed 3. I've talked like, on one of the past streams about like just the Rocky franchise in general, and just like sort of the ups and downs that's had, and like the 2 Creed films, like they were both like sort of really solid films, and I think this third one, like it had stuff going against it in that the usual director was gone, and same with the usual guy behind the music. No Sylvester Stallone, so that's gonna leave. Well, you'd imagine that'd leave quite a big. So that's something noticeable, I guess. But no, it actually all works out. Somehow it all works out still quite well in his favor, and I'm still trying to debate with myself over whether it's the best of the three yet, but I'm not sticking to that. But it is very possible because it is very, like, the story it tells is just very solid. The conflict, I think, is more personal in this film than it has been in any of the previous ones. I mean, even in terms of like the Rocky films, the antagonist in particular is just much more of a personal sort of threat to Adonis, and the film is very much built on the relationship between them two, how it sort of ended a few like years back before the film took place, I guess, and sort of how that the collapse of that friendship has sort of impacted them both, and they're both the characters are given like plenty of time to sort of see where they're at, and both their flaws and their strengths, I guess. So, but again, a lot of time is dedicated to them, and they are properly fleshed out, and it makes the relationship between them work really well. And Final Fight in particular just works. It is quite effective. The acting is just really strong too. Like Jonathan Majors, I know he wasn't like as all that impressive like with Kang, but in this film there is a lot that he puts into his performance. It is very but just him and Michael B. Jordan, they do really well with each other. You can see why they wanted to have like much stronger working relationship after this, but maybe not now. But the music is just it really does stand out in quite a major way. It's very like there are times where it gets very sort of cinematic and orchestral choirs coming in. And it's like this is a soundtrack to a boxing film. Like how? And it's sort of soundtrack that doesn't seem like it would fit, but it does. Just if that makes sense. So they're just I don't know. It's just the way they use it. It's just really effective, and the direction. It's Michael B. Jordan directing it. It's his directorial debut. The first film he's ever directed, and he's acting in it. And like balancing both those things by itself is already quite impressive. But it's the fact that he manages to do such an excellent job at both. Like just the direction, he does some. There is some genuinely really creative stuff going on in that film, in terms of direction, and it's just it's just really great to see. Like there is a lot of care and consideration for how everything's shown, all the sounds you're hearing, just how everything comes together to help enhance the story that's being told. And it is one of those films I really can't recommend highly enough. It is really quite a solid film.
Cool beans. I've not watched any of the Rocky or Creed films, but yeah. Okay. I think that's it for our recommendation corner. Now we're ready for the main card. So here's the thing,
right?
People watching, we watched the Flash film, right? Because we had to. And there's this YouTube channel that I think we all love. It's called The New Rockstars. And they make some very, very interesting videos where they talk about the Easter
very
eggs.
great thumbnails.
Oh yes, where they talk about Easter eggs and hidden details in films and TV shows. And we wanted to watch their video about the Flash film. because while I was writing my Quantumania video, which I still am working on, Neb said, "Hey, you know, maybe if you wanna find like Easter eggs and shit like that, watch their video." And then I did, and it was like one of the most insane videos I've ever seen, because they forced so hard to try to be like, "Oh, we this is an Easter egg. This is a reference to this comic," even though it makes absolutely zero sense. So we decided to watch their video on the Flash, and Jab hasn't joined yet.
I'm never joining.
That's okay. As Rakotist, sure. So yeah, new Rockstars time. This is definitely the first time we've covered them, so. Oh boy. This is the type of channel like Wisecrack that I used to watch like religiously. Back on like until Endgame came out, and then after it came out I was like, okay, I think I'm done.
They remind
Yeah,
me of Emergency Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like back when Marvel was like super huge and that like everyone was obsessed. We'd all like just watch the new Rockstar's video to understand all the Easter eggs and that. And nowadays we're just like, yeah, they're a little bit too crazy.
Yeah.
Can...
They kind of went a bit insane.
like old
can I
rock
ask a
stars.
question?
No, you're not allowed to ask a question.
No, class is in session. You gotta pay attention.
Wait
to
until the end of the
whiteboard.
class, yeah.
No, I got a
Yeah.
better idea. If you donate £50, you can exclusively ask Advocate a question. Just £50. That's all we need.
That's all we need, yeah. Anyway, new Rockstars, Eric Voss. Let's get going.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of all the Easter eggs, cameos, and details you missed in The Flash, the 2023 film directed by Eddie Muschietti and starring Ezra Miller and Michael Keaton in this bonkers lineup of surprise faces from the
What
DC
about Sasha
multiverse.
Kaye? Fuck
She's
you, man.
She's a female.
You
Yeah.
can't miss out on her. She was the best bet.
She would.
Yeah.
Before I continue, this movie does a lot of things pretty well, and I
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
want to
Okay,
take you
pal.
through it scene by scene for just some interesting points that are easy to overlook. Also, please support our network by subscribing to this channel, subscribe to the Deep Dive channel for our Spielberg Summer Slate, and to the Break Room for our instant reactions to all this great stuff. And please support us
Dear
with something
Lord.
from nerdright.shop like this.
This
Miles
great
Morales Multiverse
stuff.
Sky
I'm
shirt
not
or an
paid
Indie I Love You shirt.
$27.
Okay, the film
I'm not
opens
paid
with the hands of the
$30.
clock spinning into place precisely at 9:02, representing the way Barry can speed up and slow down time in this movie. Yet, in this opening scene, poor guy remains trapped on the timeline of a barista moving way too slow, played by very funny British comedian Kieran Hodgson. Now, this place is called Bill
What?
B's Cafe, which is a nod to the argumentative psychologist, dinner guest in H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, which is one of the earliest works of fiction to explore the very concept of time travel.
I think we missed this bit in our version of the film.
Yeah. Oh shit, we got a new member. Let's go.
Oh shit.
Thanks,
Wow.
Beerman, for becoming a member. I think we
Yo,
got a
Oh, it's Spearman. I recognize him.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Welcome to Kama. Okay.
Yes. Welcome to being
Is
a
it-
comer.
oh, that's what you labeled your tier.
Well,
name.
I'll tell you the tier names. Give me a sec, because I'm trying to remember.
Fuck.
Hold on. Membership levels. Here we go. So the lowest one is Comer, and then we have Ener, and then we have Jeb the God Bush. Those are the tiers.
Mhm.
Man, I don't
But
remember
that-
names.
Oh, it looks like Bebek took our our word for it. You're allowed to type a question in the chat.
Yeah.
But back, I'll do you an exclusive offer, 50% off.
50%. We're gonna just slash the price in half until they have the amount of money necessary to ask the question.
So instead of 50 pounds, you got to donate 50 ounces.
Oh, that's a good joke. Wow, Tin was personally hurt by that joke. Anyway,
Barry specifically in need of carbs as fuel, tying into his constant hunger from Justice League. Barry orders a PB HRC on a roll, which is like peanut butter, honey, raisin, and cheese, which his anxiety forces him to see every incremental step of building. And Alfred calls and
what was that an actual like thing in the film that I did not remember that?
Yeah, I think what happened was
Yeah.
we missed the whole pre-title sequence bit.
Yeah, this whole section was cut out from the shitty theater cam that we got.
Oh, okay.
I
It starts with the-
rewatched this on another version. Someone posted the entire movie on Twitter, and I watched the beginning that way.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the I think I even said during our reaction, I was like, oh, that one promotional video that they kept advertising where like that girl is like fangirling over Flash.
Mhm.
I was like, hey, they cut that out of the movie.
Oh, it was
Nope,
in the
it's in
beginning.
the movie. It's just that it's before the title card shows up.
Okay.
Which
That
is where
makes sense.
the cam copy starts.
Right.
Yeah.
I checked two
Right,
cam
right.
copies when we were gonna record it, so that's why I was like, oh, surely this is where it starts. I guess they both cut out the opening scene, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bibek's question was, do you think he'll collaborate with Mahler in the near future?
Depends. Probably not. As of right now, no. Yeah, that's my answer.
Cool beans.
And Barry
Is-
asks if he could just call Diana or someone else or Superman. And Barry sees Superman on a TV news report using his heat vision to help a volcano erupting in Guatemala. Presumably, this is Henry Cavill Superman, though we don't see him in close up. Barry quick changes into his suit
Yeah.
and he runs.
Wait. Did I just see
Sorry.
Superman using lasers on a volcano?
Yeah, wait, what's the point of using a laser?
I think it was like divert the lava away from the town.
Yeah, I would assume maybe like he's like opening like a rift in the ground or something to divert the lava, but that is weird. You'd assume
that's
he'd use his freeze breath.
That's even worse because there's already unstable ground. That's how a volcano happens.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh no.
Yeah, what the fuck is the point of a laser there?
My man
Were
could
you
travel
Jab that pointed it out, or some advocate right now? Were you the one that was like, wait, was he using a laser?
That was me.
Oh, okay, I thought it was advocate.
Like, look.
Yeah, what's the point of a?
Erupting in Guatemala.
I guess maybe he's destroying debris. I think that might be it. Like debris is falling, and he uses the lasers to destroy it before it hits the ground and kills people. You know, I think that might be it.
Why not just grab the debris? You have super speed, Superman.
No.
I guess because he has a vantage point of being that far up in the air where he can see everything, so it's easier, maybe.
What about all the debris that's over on the other side where all that lava flow is?
There's
Not
not a
that one.
city on the other side, we assume, because otherwise this is dumb.
And if there is, yeah, fuck 'em.
Yeah.
But that lava flow on the far left is going to end up going towards the city that's in front of us.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they definitely did not think it through when making this thing. They just wanted to be like, look, he's helping a volcano. He's helping a volcano? No, he's helping a city being fucked over by a volcano. He's not helping the volcano. Helping a volcano. Oh, I'm so dumb sometimes. Anyway.
Presumably, this is Henry Cavill Superman, though we don't see him in close up. Barry quick changes into his suit and he runs outside to strike the speedster pose despite being low on fuel, and he gets recognized by a group of fans.
Sorry if this sounds weird, but are you actively eating that candy bar? Maybe you could throw it to me.
I need you here now.
Hi, Bruce. Yes, I'm.
Now, in other instances,
Where is his quick reactions? Remember when he reacted quickly to the batarang being thrown at him?
He has the speed react, just not for chocolate bars.
Oh yeah, chocolate bars.
Just like how Andrew doesn't have the tingle thing for the bread.
Yeah, yeah, or like it's like Black Noir is allergic to peanuts. It's like the one weakness that Barry has is chocolate. It's the one thing that his speed can't react to. It's like built into him so that there's a way to take him down.
Well, it's not like an active threat, so like who cares?
True.
Now I'm just picturing like Flash and Superman talking about their weaknesses, like, oh yeah, mine's kryptonite, magic, and all that. And what's yours? Chocolate.
Chocolate's my kryptonite.
I just like how there's an active threat going on, and Barry's like, you know what? Instead of super speeding into a shop or something just quickly and eating all stuff there, putting the money down or something, I'm just going to speak to the fan girl.
Wasn't he just like ordering some food at that point? Just grab the food, run out while eating it, and then and put it on your suit, and then go. It's silly. They just wanted the joke of like fangirls.
Because like by this point, Flash should be established for a good number of years. I think his whole calorie thing should be pretty established, and they can go like, he just needed some food. Like,
That would actually be a fun detail if like Flash fans are always carrying food to throw at him because they know he needs it. I think that would be actually a kind of a cool detail.
When people up at Barry's head, he's able to slow down time and quickly sidestep it. Remember when Ben Affleck Batman threw the
He
Batarang
didn't sidestep
at
it, it hit
face
his
in
head. What are you
Justice
talking
League? And this
about?
movie actually calls that back later with Michael Keaton Batman throwing a frying pan at the Barry's heads in the kitchen later, but here, because Barry's low on energy, the candy bar just thinks into his head. Now this suit is a new one.
That's not why. That's not why he didn't do it. It's just for the joke. He can still
gonna say,
run while he's low on energy, so that's silly.
I was gonna say, if he's that low on energy, he ain't fucking getting there.
Yeah. Alright.
Last time we saw him, like when Barry lowers his goggle eyepieces, you can actually see some light up text inside showing he has a new heads-up display, which logically must be fast enough at buffering to keep up with his super speed. All this was supplied to him by his good friend, and he later calls his best friend Bruce Wayne. So
That's insane. That's insane. I'm sorry, I do not buy that. That Bruce Wayne was able to build like an interface that is able to keep up with Barry's super speed. Do you know how fast Barry goes? There's no computer with processing power fast enough to like keep up with the speed of sound. Imagine the speed of fucking
Shut up. He's
keep up with the speed
Batman.
of sound, but you get what I mean. That's insane.
He's Batman.
Oh yeah.
He's Batman.
Bruce not applying this to his own equipment. It's even fucking funnier.
In the same film, he has a grappling hook, a grappling gun that can't hold two people.
Oh yeah.
How is he supposed to invent a machine that can go at the speed of sound?
Yeah, that's insane. Well, Jeb, you'd know processing power and everything. What's like the fastest it can go in terms of like compared to like speed of sound and whatever.
Let me, because it depends if we're factoring quantum computers. If we're not, the fastest is like 6 gigahertz without overclocking, which is nowhere near the speed of sound, in case anyone's wondering.
Right.
You don't know computers.
How many gigahertz?
Batman had prep time. The prep time. With prep time, he could break the speed of
He
sound.
had prep time to invent miracle technology.
Yeah.
To put it this way, if we converted, trying to see if we can find a way to convert the speed of sound into gigahertz, if it's even possible. This is the thing. It's very retarded.
I love that there are people already asking for season 5 when Madcat's season 4 video came out like a week ago. Like, chill, guys.
Yeah, it's going to take a while if he ever does it. Guess we're not finding it. Okay.
What?
Yeah, we're not finding this out.
That's okay, Jeb. Alright.
So as Barry zips from Central City all the way to Gotham City, he passes all kinds of terrain. These are not right next to each other, and he zips past the Gotham sign showing its population over 10 million. A lot of people live in here. Batman drops out of his aircraft.
Thank you. Dude, that is true. That is... Why would you point that out as a detail? I love this, like, details you missed. A lot of people live in Gotham. Wow. City based in Chicago actually has a lot of people living in it.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's between Tokyo and Mexico City.
What? What are you talking about, Joe?
I just want to look at the, what's like the world's most Tokyo has 37 million. Okay. Google lied. I just want to see what's like the most populated city. And use it as a point of comparison. Like, that is 5 times more than fucking Paris. Jesus.
Well, I think it's around, like, Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles has 12 million, so I'm not sure.
Apparently, Los Angeles has 3.9, but Google did lie to me earlier, so... we list the largest cities. That'll help.
Anyway, this is irrelevant. Let's ignore Joe.
Craft on this motorcycle, it looks so great. Ben Affleck now dons a gray and blue suit, a classic color scheme.
I actually kind of like the color. So.
You said the colors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
like the honeycomb pattern that he has on him
Oh,
for
no,
some reason. That looks like shit.
Outside of the colors, genuinely, I think it's probably one of the worst live action bat suits.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Oh, it's
colors are
horrible.
like straight from the comics. It's great, but the actual suit is like, what is happening?
Like,
It's
if
so
it
over
was-
designed.
If it was just the BVS suit but done in blue and gray, it would be perfect.
Oh yeah,
But
that
it's not.
yeah, I
That'd
already
be
like
badass.
that suit. That suit in blue and gray would have been amazing. Yo, are we watching The Flash? Yes, we're watching a film on ECUM. Somehow not getting
You know what
copyright
I-
claim.
You know what I realized? I don't know if I actually mentioned this. Oh no, I couldn't have because that part was cut out of the movie. Why doesn't Barry make his little toast with cheese and raisins himself and just leave like $5? Kind of like how CW Barry does,
Yeah,
instead of like waiting for the guy to do it. I mean, he's willing to use super speed in front of everyone in the cafe when he runs into the bathroom to change into the Flash suit.
yeah, I don't know why he doesn't. I mean, just so we can have the scene of him seeing the thing being done and him having the anxiety, I guess.
Yeah.
A classic color scheme that Batman has worn in past comics, and not colors that we normally see Batman wear in live action. This is really cool to see. Now, the reason
No,
Bruce
it's not.
needs Barry's help is
Shut up, Jab. The
a
colors are
bad suit.
cool. The colors are cool.
Bad suit. It's a terrible
The suit is
It's
terrible, but
bland.
the colors are
Suit is
cool.
shit. The colors are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
No, they're terrible. They're bland.
I will hit you in the balls.
Granted, it is because of the cinematography being utter shit. If it's like Matt
Well, that
Reeves or
too,
something-
but like the suit is shit. It is
Mhm.
definitely over designed. Like Madvick said, the
MCU
honeycomb
Batman.
shit is fucking hilarious.
because there's been a robbery gone wrong, and the robbers are using chemical weapons. One must imagine they were acquired from Ace Chemicals because that's where like all the chemicals come from. But the credits confirm.
Yes. One must imagine. What? Ace Chemicals? I think the only DC film that Ace Chemicals has been a part of is Birds of Prey, right? Oh, and Suicide Squad, because we have the scene of him. Margot Robbie
actually,
becoming
it
her
wasn't even in the original Batman film. It wasn't even Ace Chemicals. It was Axis Chemicals.
Yeah. So like imagining it's Ace Chemicals, I think is a bit much. It's just stealing chemicals. It doesn't need to be specifically from a place.
That this group of criminals are the Falcones, well-known Gotham City crime family. And one detail you might have noticed here is that the Falcones fire upon Batman on his motorcycle first, and only then does Bruce return the fire. Seems like this sequence
Wow.
Whoa, no way.
Holy shit.
That's such a good detail.
Cool detail.
Yeah. It's like the Hun shot first thing. It's like, no, Batman didn't shoot first. See, it's, whoa. It's amazing.
Whoa. I love Batman.
That's such a good detail.
Wow, a character
I love
arc
Batman
you
for
can
not
kinda
shooting
stay
first.
where he doesn't murder people immediately.
Yeah.
Can we point out how Batman brings like a giant fucking flying thing that's like, you know what? I'm gonna go on a motorcycle for the
Yeah.
rest. Why not?
Remember how far he dropped as well from the chase, from the truck. Because, like, Eric Voss didn't show it here, but he dropped so fucking far. He needs to drive to where the truck is. Like, just fly to where the truck is and then drop down. Silly.
You don't know car chases.
You'd think with his processor power, he could just like get a grappling thing for the fucking.
No, the
Vehicle.
processing power only applies to Flash. He can't use it for his own stuff.
designed to be very mindful of collateral damage. Bruce lays out a spike strip ahead of kids offloading the school bus, but the armored truck swerves, and then Bruce has to follow them on the bike. I mean,
Whoa.
Bruce really cares about collateral damage. That's why he left spikes in the middle of the road, and
Oh
anyone else is
shit,
gonna come
yeah.
across
Because
it.
nobody else is gonna know. Nobody else is gonna notice. They're all gonna be fucked over by that. I hadn't thought of that. That's so dumb.
Oh,
It's genuinely like such a normie take of being like, see, he cares about collateral damage, so that's why he's gonna do a thing that's gonna cause collateral damage. But we only think about like the immediate impact of it, not you know, the long term.
It's like, even then, that's the sort of mistake like you'd expect, like, even Pattinson's Batman wouldn't make that mistake, let alone a Batman 20 years into his career.
Yeah. It is so annoying how shit Ben Affleck's Batman is, considering how far into his career he is. Because it would be so cool seeing a Batman that's like completely efficient, who knows exactly what to do, but it's just like we need this like a car chase and like a superhero film, like we need an action scene, so it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, well, that's Yeah, that's the thing. He does care about collateral damage in that he cares about causing it because he's like Kevin Conroy's Batman, where he hates the world and wants everyone dead.
Oh, that's true. Oh, we got a super chat. As we all know, Batman shooting first would have made him a cold-blooded killer. Of course, shooting first is never warranted, especially when it's a truck carrying chemicals that it's gonna hurt a lot of people.
You know what would have been funny if it was Zack Snyder's Batman? Like, the guy's just shooting with machine guns, and Zack Snyder's Batman just fires a rocket launcher.
Well, doesn't he basically do that in BVS? I remember there's like that car chase with the Batmobile where he absolutely annihilates a bunch of cars, explodes a bunch.
Yeah, there's one where he shoots one up, it starts rolling, and it just crashes and explodes into a Batmobile.
Yeah, man, I love that scene because it looks cool, but fucking hell is that scene not like a complete, like, as a Batman fan, I really do hate that scene.
It's like the action scenes are cool, but the moment you see him absolutely just murder anyone,
Yeah.
it's like
They're cool in the sense of like the action scenes of the Transformative films are cool, but you know, Optimus Prime saying I'm gonna tear your face off and Batman just annihilating a bunch of people. It's not it's the same vibe. Like you shouldn't do that.
Meanwhile, Barry heads. This is Gotham General Hospital, and on the wall we see this is the Martha Wayne Institute, suggesting Bruce paid for this wing in honor of his mother, Martha. Barry has to run inside to lower.
That's actually a cool detail. Well done on that one. I didn't notice it.
It's a cool detail till you realize it all gets fucking destroyed.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and Batman barely cares, right? Because it's exploded, and then they talk later, and it's just not mentioned that the hospital built on his mother's name is just not. Oh my god, that's true.
I love this film. This is making the film better for me.
Yeah, this is making it way funnier. This is the kind of thing that's actually funny when you think about like the cool details that you add. You had to be mindful of like what it means, like world building wise, because then you realize Batman just did not care about it at all after the fact.
that's what you do when you make an entire cinematic universe and you go 10 years in and you don't make a single Batman film.
The building, trying to untangle the utility line hoses, a visual metaphor for the complexities he will deal with in this movie.
You fucking kidding me? Shut the fuck up. Not to mention, he didn't use super speed to untangle them. He just did it normally like a moron.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's so funny. That's exactly the kind of thing that I expected based on his Quantumania video. It's just like, oh, you see? No, it even count because they have a counter, right? And not every detail they put on the counter of like details you miss. This was one that he added to the counter. This is a detail you might have missed. That it's a metaphor for later on in the film. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Oh,
Oh god.
This Flash movie with CW CGI probably would have made it 5 times better. Well, it basically does have CW CGI to be fair. So
I'm going to be
There
honest.
is a lot of CW CGI, yeah.
CW CGI, aside from the later seasons, was better, and that scares me.
yeah, I would rather watch any King Shark, Gorilla Grodd scene than this film.
Hell yeah. Remember that big abomination in season 9 in the Oliver Queen episode? That one looked pretty good. In like the middle of the city. When he and Oliver
when
had
blood
to
work
fight
was like
some,
yeah, I remember
like
that.
the carnage looking thing.
Yeah, that looked cool. Yeah, look
I
better
just
than
can't believe-
Despero. So
I can't believe the director was like, these utility lines, Ezra, they're going to be a representation of you time traveling.
yeah, of course. I'm pretty I'm that certain that the writer wrote that in the script that Barry needed to untangle some lines, some utility lines,
without
and that was a
super
reference.
speed.
And it was a reference for later
So
in
we
the
could-
film that he shouldn't use the
Yeah.
super speed. He shouldn't use his powers. He should leave it as is. It's just writing, man. It's poetry. It's beautiful. George Lucas applauding this film. To be fair, it is very funny considering how many like people love this film in terms of like writers, directors, everyone. Like Edgar Wright said this film was great. Fucking Hideo Kojima was like,
Wait,
oh,
no way
it's
he
great.
did.
Yeah, Edgar Wright said before it came out. I was like, no
Oh,
way. Yeah. But the thing is, you know, a lot of directors and writers, they can make a lot of great stuff, but have some iffy opinions. Tarantino, for one, he's a fantastic filmmaker, but his opinions are weird as hell.
Yeah, he likes feet.
I'm sure. This film needed Chester. I agree. Would have made it more interesting.
Tangled in knots that just cannot be untied. Newborn babies get endangered,
Oh, no.
and I swear to God, what a terror to watch these youngins free fall. But
It was
It
was
some funny
something.
shit going
You
on.
could say terror. It was something. See all the babies fucking jump out of the building, and then the woman jumping as the baby falls from her arms, and then time stops, and Barry puts one of the babies in a fucking microwave as he's eating a churro so that he can regain his energy. It's amazing. It's the greatest scene in cinema.
And you get a slow-mo of the microwave fucking burning.
Yeah, it's insane. And then when he pulls out the baby from the microwave, it dings. It dings, guys. I don't think you understand. He microwaved the baby.
I need to speak to Matt specifically and show him the clip in reverse where the woman screams as Ezra puts it in the microwave.
I love that clip because it doesn't look like it's been edited. It doesn't even look reversed. It's
Yeah.
pretty great.
he just like no net and he just puts it in.
Yeah.
Just slams the door.
This movie's legit insulting if you like Batfleck. It's also insulting if you don't like Batfleck, but yeah. I've there was was it a thread on Twitter? I saw someone talking about the way this film handles Batfleck being very annoying because of that scene where Barry's like, I need a friend or whatever, and Bruce is like, nah, fuck you, I'm gonna leave now. This is where he says like, maybe another time, yeah. Where like Bruce is being very inconsiderate, considering Barry clearly needs someone to talk to at that moment, and Bruce has gone through the exact same thing that Barry has, but he's just like, nah, maybe next time. Because when we reacted to it, we all talked about like the meta sense of it, where it's just like Ben Affleck saying, you know, his last line. Whereas in universe, it's so weird for Bruce to do that. So yeah. Takes 6 to 8 hours to convert fruit into energy. Well, Barry's body has much faster metabolism, so we can just assume.
No, yeah. His muscles work overtime. They push the food down at rapid speed.
Yeah.
to watch these youngins free fall. But Barry's able to save them, but as he mentions later, he can't just grab them because, you know, that would force them to puke, really do damage to their digestive tracts. So he has to gingerly catch all these little buddies in various containers like a freaking microwave. But also, the service dog he rescues tries to take a bite of that burrito he warms up to constantly carbo load and overcharge here. It's kind of a running joke in this movie that Barry always denies others from taking a bite of the snack food, including cameos by director Andy Muschietti, who later is the guy trying to take a bite of the hot dog. Now, there is an amazing...
that's cool. I didn't know that was a cameo. See? That's good detail. Thank you, Mr. Rockstars.
Long take where Bruce skids along the pavement, his tow cable...
That scene is insane. This scene makes no sense. His cable is tied to the right side of the track there, and he fucking jumps here. The fucking pillar here would have stopped his cable in the middle. He would have been flung outwards. He would have died just from the G-force alone of that.
You don't know physics.
Andy Muschietti doesn't either, to be fair. So
Don't know Batman, I'm afraid.
You don't know
He's
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah,
He
can
defies
survive
everything.
anything. This is Batman. He can survive anything. Fucking what? Rick Flag saying that. Yeah.
Severing the top off a taxi, he's able to grab the guy, and there he almost dropped the chemical weapons, but Diana arrives using the
To be fair, that is how the DCU treats her. She shows up and then we just hear and it's a fucking banger of a theme, but I've heard it so much that I want to die every time I hear it. Mostly because of the Snyder cut, but this at least doesn't have the yodeling that the Snyder cut has every time.
It could have been worse. It could have been that thing.
Yeah.
I just like where there's people dead behind her. She goes, "Sorry, I'm late," as a joke.
Yeah.
That's my enough.
She was definitely helping Superman deal with the volcano off screen. For sure. Helping the volcano, yeah.
Yeah, she just lessels the volcano.
Yes. Tell me your truth, volcano.
Using truth-telling, including Barry making some confessions about his sexual history. So back home, Barry calls his dad Henry, now played by Ron Livingston, recast from Billy Crudup in Justice League due to some scheduling conflicts. Their appeal trial is going to be the next day, and during
Scheduling conflicts. The film was reshot to hell. Surely they could have gotten the original actor at some point.
They reshot the ending like 4 different times.
The film was in reshot limbo for like 5 years. Just get the actor in for like, it's one scene that isn't in the film. Come on. Oh no, it's actually a bit more, right? Because there's the entire thing about the mom dying and everything. So whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot more scenes with him.
I hated the scene where Batman was saying I should use my wealth to stop crime. Bruce does, and no one uses that criticism for Tony Stark, Oliver Queen, or the other wealthy superhero. Yeah, it's so weird. It's because the issue with that scene is that Bruce is assuming. No, Bruce is not assuming. What's the word? Bruce is basically saying that he doesn't use his wealth to help stop crime, when he should do that as well as be Batman. Him saying that he doesn't is so fucking like, oh, he says that he shouldn't means that he doesn't. It's fucking awful. And no, yeah, Gotham can't be solved with just money.
He was lying just like how Wong was lying about training for the Sorcerer Supreme title.
Oh, yeah. Got a question. What do you guys think of the animated Justice League series? I don't think any of us have watched it. Well, I don't know. Tin may have.
I haven't seen it yet. I do plan to go through a lot of the DC stuff, but like, I haven't yet.
Yeah, so sorry. No answer.
It's called Barry Disassociates and returns to the memory of their old neighborhood house, and Barry recalls the day Nora was killed and how they danced to this specific song that comes back throughout the movie. Youngberry wears a Scooby-Doo shirt, gotta get in that Warner IP, but Youngberry complains about his math assignment.
Oh, this is funny.
To come up with as many possible equations that can equal 24, which he's right. It is ridiculous because there is an infinite amount of ways you can get to 24.
Yeah.
But another foreshadowing of his multiversal dilemma and how infinite journey.
Oh my god. That's such a forced way to have a fucking parallel. But I actually think that Eric Voss is right on this one. It's not the untangling shit. This actually makes more sense to be a parallel. Because it is such an insane question to be like, write every equation that can mean 24. Like, it is so insane that it can only have a thematic relation. Stupid. I don't remember what she says. What does she say?
She says not every problem has an answer or solution or something, and it's like, well, that's not what this is. This has many solutions.
Yeah, this has infinite solutions. That's kind of the point.
But she says like not every question has an answer to it.
Well, this is the problem. Because they don't know how to write math, what they actually meant was find the pair factors to 24. It was basically prime factorization.
Oh, was that what they were trying to do?
Yes, I've seen that type of question before in my maths, and it's just prime factorization.
So that's stupid then. The film just doesn't understand the point of that.
Unless it also wants to pick specific numbers using operators, it's prime factorization.
That's silly.
Just saying, for a film where like it explores quantum physics level theories, maybe it should get basic maths right first.
Who needs to understand basic maths? Quantum physics is above maths. Right, Jeff?
Smash Productions, that's an amazing reference. Sorry, Sky, I didn't hear you. I was focusing on the reference.
That's okay, Jeff.
And how infinite journeys can lead to that same endpoint, the same 24-hour day that you can never change. Now, the reason Nora is left alone is that Henry has to go back to the store to get a can of tomatoes for the spaghetti sauce that she makes. And because he never looked up when he got that can in the direction of the security camera, he doesn't have a valid alibi for the appeal later. This movie oddly comes down to spaghetti as a metaphor for everything, specifically the multiverse. Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, uses uncooked spaghetti noodles to demonstrate this movie's alternate take on multiverse logic. And of course, spaghetti, the recurring fuel for Barry and his younger self as they constantly have to carbo load, and the meal that his mother made that the house just smelled like. But interestingly, we never get a real answer as to who killed Nora Allen. Just that I guess there were robbers who were supposedly casing the house.
Well, we did later because Andy came out on Twitter and said they wanted to do a reverse Flash story in the next in the sequel, which would be the mom's killer, which is so stupid because the only reason he doesn't kill his mom is because Henry wasn't home. Henry Allen is the most powerful being in the DCEU. He stopped the Reverse Flash.
Yeah, it's you know,
Again.
death of the author. Let's just pretend it's like a normal like house invader or some shit, because otherwise, fucking Christ.
It's got
Yeah.
I'd argue that's even worse. I'd rather it just be a speedster.
Either way,
The
it's
House
dumb.
Invader didn't like steal anything.
He just wanted
just
to
went
kill.
in
He
there,
just
killed
really
Nora, and
hated Nora.
It
My
was
God.
like an old ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because if it's like someone that broke in, there's obviously going to be a sign that someone broke in.
Yeah,
So-
it's dumb anyway, right? Like, yeah.
So what's really funny is when you watch the CW show and you see it do 50 times better, because again, it had Henry in the fucking house
Yeah.
and it had Flash interfere.
Yeah, there were so many aspects of why the CW did it better.
I just can't believe this film forgot what receipts are.
Leave and thought no one would be there and ended up stabbing her. Now in the comics, Nora Allen is actually killed by Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, who plays a much bigger role in the Flashpoint comics that is based on, though structurally, Barry's younger self, I guess you could say, plays a similar role as Dark Flash.
It's just Savitar. Come on. We all know it's Savitar.
It might be why he's often dressed in yellow in this movie, Reverse Flash's colors. Barry now
Whoa.
accesses
I mean, he becomes purple at the end. That's stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he would become yellow if that was the case. That's silly.
It's like
Yeah, this guy clearly hasn't watched the masterpiece that is the CW show, so he doesn't
Yeah,
know.
he doesn't know
Well,
the
no, he keeps referencing the comic, so he should know who Savitar is.
That is true.
It's like if you're gonna have Barry 2 dressed up in all yellow, why not have him, as like Kid Flash in the yellow suit?
Yeah, that would actually be kind of cool if when he paints the Batman suit to be a Flash suit, he paints it yellow.
Yeah, it's because it's like this was never gonna get to do Wally because like they just pretend he doesn't exist. So like, gotta do Kid Flash somehow.
Yeah, it is weird though
Wally.
how much they hate adapting Wally. Like poor Wally, man. He was like a main Flash
Yeah,
in the
it's like-
comics for ages.
It's like for a lot of people, he was the Flash. Like Barry Allen was dead for a good long while, and Barry took over. Like
Yeah.
in terms of like legacy characters, he's probably like the biggest one.
Wally died off screen, just like how Robin was killed by Joker off screen.
Yeah, everything happens off screen. Everything interesting in the DCU happens off screen. The actual uninteresting stuff is the film.
Realm beyond the speed of light that he later calls the Chrono Bowl. It's this movie's visualization of the multiverse. Working similarly to the Tesseract in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, it's really an array of moments.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't like Interstellar, but it does it way better than this. It is at least looks good, especially because it was done practically. So yeah.
Yeah, and
It doesn't.
I was gonna say at least with Christopher Nolan, you know it's gonna look good.
Yeah, and it has the Hans Zimmer soundtrack. So
I really like the Chrono Bowl concept. I'm guessing you're all saying like the CGI was shit, but if the CGI was good, like I would love this shit as like the time travel visual.
I think it looks silly
But-
either way, honestly.
Well, you can go. You can go. Fuck off.
Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if I'm remembering the scene from Interstellar correctly. I don't see the parallel in visuals of looking back in time, but maybe that's just me.
I think it's just a way for Eric Voss to reference something else and be like, you see, I know films. He does that a lot, yeah. For example, did you know, this is an actual thing he says in his video, and I'm not joking. Did you know that when Scott says, son of a bitch, Kang doesn't let him finish. So he only says son of a, because he hits Scott. He uses that to say he was interrupting him because he didn't want Scott to finish his sentence because he's from Reed Richards' lineage in the comics. So therefore, he didn't want Scott to mention it.
What?
Yes, that he says that in his Quantumania video. He interrupts him saying son of a bitch because he didn't want him to finish it and say who his actual like father or mother was, whatever, that was actually from Reed Richards' lineage. He says that.
I mean, we don't know who Kang actually is in the movies. Like, for all we know, he could just be some other git. But also, like, he's from like in Reed Richards' timeline. He's from several centuries in the future.
Yeah.
So like,
It is genuinely just him wanting to be like, see, I know comics. I know what I'm saying. Instead of just him being like, you know, in the comics, Kang is from Reed Richards' lineage. He wanted to tie it in with the movie somehow, and that's how he found a way to do it, so. He clearly knows writing while I don't. Scott wasn't going to say son of a bitch, he was going to say son of a Reed Richards. So, yeah.
That's shown across a time stream. It's interesting how it's kind of an amphitheater or a coliseum or an arena with Barry right in the middle of it, as if he is the epicenter of the earthquake that ruptured the multiverse here. So Barry tells Bruce Wayne.
Whoa, okay. What earthquake that ruptured the multiverse? That's not really, whatever, sure.
About his ability to do this, and Bruce humors him, but he warns him about the dangers of destroying everything, saying that even if it would mean leaving their parents dead, those scars make us who we are. Now remember, this Bruce Wayne already knows that Barry will be time traveling at some point in his life because he saw Barry appearing through a rift in time.
Yeah. Wait, what? I don't. If he knows this, I think it's even weirder to be like. But he knows it's going to be in a completely different event because it's relating to Superman.
yeah, because like, and plus like using that to like reference this is just like, because like that was originally going to be Justice League Part 2 and 3, and if going by this, they technically haven't happened yet, or they're not going to happen. So like, it's just it just feels weird to use that as a point of reference. Like, it's never going to get paid off. Like this, if this is the closest thing to paying it off, like it's a bit embarrassing.
And Batman v Superman. I like how in the background behind Bruce is this barbershop, Grayson's. A nod, of course, to Dick Grayson, Robin. Also across the street is Wiz Comics, which could be a nod to the Wiz Comics label that Captain Marvel Shazam appeared under. Barry rushes to tidy up his apartment.
I mean, this is the kind of reference that I'm like, yeah, you got it. That was what they wanted to do, and I did miss it, so.
Yeah, at least it wasn't like an insane stretch.
Yeah, this is what these videos should be about. It's like these background references, like in a lot of like, especially MCU films, there's like comic numbers and like car plate numbers. It's like, you know, that's cool. That's a cool reference. I'm glad you got it, and now I know of it. But
Yo, I have a question regarding the when Barry warns Batman from the future.
Yeah.
So we can all agree now that the Flash. Well, we don't have to agree. It's a fact that this movie is canon to the Snyderverse.
To the Snyder Cut, yeah.
So if Barry uses the Chrono Bowl and we see him like being able to clearly see where in time he's like traveling to as he's going back, does that make the scene in BVS weirder that like he wasn't able to?
Yeah, he said he was like,
too soon. Am I too soon? Like, isn't it weird that like he wasn't able to go to the time he exactly wanted if he can clearly see when in time
Unless, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what the plan was for the Justice League sequels.
Yeah, it's
but
not BVS's fault. I'm just saying this film makes it weird.
I would just say that if he was being like chased through time or something, I think there's a case to be made where he may have gotten the time slightly wrong or something. But if he wasn't and he had all the liberty of traveling through time and choosing a time to go back to, an event to go back to, then I would say that, yeah, that is weird that he managed to somehow get the time wrong. I was quiet because I assumed Tim maybe knew something more, but
from what I can gather, from what I remember, is that like the whole thing is that like they, in the sort of like nightmare timeline, they slapped together the cosmic treadmill to go back and warn Bruce, and I guess you could infer that maybe because of how slapdash it was, he couldn't quite tell when he was going.
But why would the treadmill be necessary when he can just travel on his own?
I'm fucked.
That's fair.
Iris walks in, and I just love the timing of all that rubbish dumping out of his closet. It looks like a practical timed gag by Andy Muschietti.
Yeah, probably. It makes that is a very simple gag to do. I assume it was practical too. Yeah. Sure.
That's how jokes work.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, wow.
It's
It's just like
is not
he's
a big
praising
deal.
it for being done practically in the correct timing. They can just redo it. It's just shoving shit inside it and pulling probably like a cable to open it and then everything fall out. Very simple gag to do. I don't know why. Well,
Includes this Jack in the Box that rolls out and perfectly pops up. I believe that could be a red balloon on the side of it, and that clown reminded me of Pennywise, a nod to Muschietti's work in the It films. Also in Barry's apartment.
Sure.
Oh, did he
poster
work
of
on the It films? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he did.
he directed both of them. So see that's a good reference. That's a thing you keep pointing out makes sense. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mr. Mr. Rockstar. I keep wanting to call him by his actual name, but Mr. Rockstar is funnier.
from 1966 is 1 million years BC. On the wall, that Barry vibrates rapidly to phase through. A nod to Shawshank Redemption when Andy Dufresne uses the same poster to cover him tunneling through his prison
that's a
cell
cool
wall. Stephen
detail
King
as well.
oddly overpraised this movie.
God in advance is a rule and Carol. It's fun, special. It's heartfelt, funny, and eye-popping. I loved it.
I remember
Mr.
this tweet.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and I honestly think it could just be because this nod to the all-time best cinematic adaptation of his work, that being his novella Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, because Rita Hayworth was the first poster that was
He
That's why he
overpraised the
liked it.
Flash film because there was one reference to one of his many things.
I know Stephen King has a bit of an ego when it comes to his books, but I doubt he's that egotistical.
No, he's not. He's not that. That's dumb. That's so silly. It's like, oh, you referenced the thing about that's amazing. 10 out of 10.
So, do you know what would be funny for me if you just didn't even notice it?
Yeah, that would be funny as well.
Yeah.
By this logic, if they referenced the Shining movie, like the Stanley Kubrick one, would you think it was the worst film ever then? Since he vocally hates that adaptation.
That's true. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm just imagining someone like replying to Stephen King's tweet, and they're like, "Wasn't it cool when like the poster from Shawshank showed up?" And he's like, "What?"
Oh.
And yes, I am including The Shining because Stephen King hated Kubrick's adaptation, despite it being one of the best films of all time. Also, I think Stephen King just likes Andy Muschietti because Muschietti's It films brought King a butt ton of money in royalties.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Okay.
He just praised the film made by like his friend. Maybe that's the point he wanted to make by that. Okay, that's fair.
Honestly, I think It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 might be the most profitable Stephen King film adaptation.
I don't
Barry
care.
returns to the Chrono Bowl.
Okay, yeah, now we're back to the actual like Flash film. Like he did all of this just to justify why Stephen King said the film was good. To be fair, I'm also finding it hard to understand why anyone would think this film is good. So, you know, you have to do a lot of work.
I mean, I find it quite funny that the motivation's money when you consider Flash has made fuck all.
Yeah.
Most profitable Stephen King film adaptation. Barry returns to the Chrono Bowl and rewinds time past the events of Justice League. We see forms of shirtless Henry Cavill, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman.
That was
the
not a
moment that, like,
missable
threw-
detail.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
was
they called
pretty
attention to it.
blatant,
Yeah.
which is even more sad because that's technically going to be the last time we ever see Cavill as Superman.
Give it
Battering
10 years.
Yeah, I'm certain we're gonna get a cameo from Cavill at some point in a film in the future.
his dad Henry on the other side of the prison visitation window. Sadly, I couldn't see any Ray Fisher cyborg. You know, Warner, I'm pretty sure he was there too.
He said he didn't want to be
Oh,
part of the
he's-
film, right?
He's mad.
What happened? Right?
Wait,
He's
so like the
mad.
thing is, I'm pretty sure he said he didn't want to be a part of the film. Would he let his like rights in terms of like his image be used in this film? I don't think he would, right? Like he hates the
At least-
Warner.
At least with Cavill, we know he filmed a cameo for it.
Yeah.
But they were just
Yeah,
put like Ray Fisher. He's like disowned Warner Brothers for a good number of years now.
Yeah. I think it's very silly to expect Cyborg to be it, even if it is like just a CGI version of him in that.
Like I know he was originally going to be like a cool lead. He was going to be like a Barry sort of and
The buddy
Cyborg
cop,
sort of
yeah.
like that sort of thing. But it changed due to how
Well,
this film was in
everything.
production for so long.
Yeah.
Like
No, you see, it doesn't matter what Ray Fisher wants. because Warner Brothers treated him poorly, they now owe it to him to include him in movies that he doesn't want to be in.
It's just such a silly thing.
He's so obviously mad. It's funny.
You know, you're saying that, but like I watched one of his Spider-Verse videos, and it was like, oh, we're pretty much guaranteed a cameo from Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. It's like, God, that feels arrogantly entitled.
Fans are very entitled, especially the new Rockstars type of fans.
See any Ray Fisher cyborg? You know, Warner, I'm pretty sure he was there too. Now, yes, the VFX of the people in the Chrono Bowl doesn't look that good. Andy Muschietti said that this was meant to be seen from Barry's point of view, light and texture,
not
kind
this.
of water world, which I suppose is meant to mean that all this is a representative dollhouse of the moments in reality he could revisit, but these are just tableaus of reality, not really meant to be seen as reality itself. If so, I just don't know if they leaned enough into that artificiality for viewers to get that.
That's a fair point. Fair criticism. Because if that's what Andy Muschietti was trying to do, it wasn't clear enough through the film. So, yeah.
But there is some really great coloring in this movie. Like, notice when Barry initially alters history to put that can of tomatoes in Nora's cart, his Speed Force is warm and golden, because in his new suit, that's just what color the Speed Force is colored, despite normally appearing blue in past iterations we've seen him in. But later, when he lets his mom go, when he's not wearing that suit, the color is cold and blue, which matches the coloring in Barry's memory of his mom's death.
Because he's blue. Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's a good detail in terms of cinematography and set design. I'm okay with this one.
I've been dancing with him that day. The kitchen and his shirt are yellow, but when he remembers her death, the room and his shirt.
I mean, obviously, it's like so small. Like when you're gonna do a death scene, blue is usually, you know, because colder colors than sadness are associated, and warmer colors are usually associated with happiness and just, you know, warmth in general. So this is extremely basic level cinematography, but it is better than nothing in terms of analysis. Like, it makes sense. So it is using color to show emotion, which is basic filmmaking, like filmmaking 101. So
that just means Barry was always sad before this point.
Depression, Barry.
Yeah.
Have switched to blue. And now when Barry returns to the Chrono Bowl, we see his altered life with Nora alive, birthdays, Barry learning to shave because Henry has not been incarcerated now. And it's this moment that Dark Flash bumps him, knocking him to 10 years prior. If you think about it, he's really fulfilling his own destiny and closing his loop. The time travel logic of this movie overall is the predestination.
It's not. It's not. That's not. It's not at all. Yeah. Jeb and I talked a lot about it, and it's definitely not predestination, but at the same time, it wants to be, because otherwise Avatar doesn't make any sense.
It wants to do like a sort of loop sort of time travel thing, while also doing the multiverse.
Yeah, it just makes zero sense either way you look at it. Jeb and I went through it at length, which will be out together with the... It's a conversation Jeb and I had, we recorded it, it's going to be out together with the actual film reaction whenever that's out. It's us trying to figure out how the fuck it works. So yeah.
Fun.
Closed loop style of time travel, in which events happen because they've always happened. As Youngberry crosses the street, he kicks over 2 receptacle cans for house number 13, foreshadowing how he will become Dark Flash by knocking 2 berries out of sync in a very...
What? No way.
Huh?
What?
That's amazing.
Hold up.
I'm gonna rewind. That's the greatest.
Wait, why is 13 relevant? I'm so confused.
He's probably gonna say it after this.
Loop. The time travel logic of this movie overall is the predestination closed loop style of time travel, in which events happen because they've always happened. As Youngberry crosses the street, he kicks over 2 receptacle cans for house number 13, foreshadowing how he will become Dark Flash by knocking 2 berries out of sync in a very unlucky position for both of them.
Oh, unlucky. 13 is unlucky.
Oh, come on.
That's amazing.
Oh.
That's the I'm losing my mind. Okay. I'm sure Eric Voss.
In Youngberry's bedroom, there are posters for other Warner titles, Pacific Rim and Inception, and on the door, V for Vendetta. When Old Barry speeds around the room to pack him in couch cushions, he sees how Youngberry has pinned Nora's gift of that stuffed monkey to the dartboard, and notice, after we return to normal speed, it is no longer on the dartboard. So Old Barry worried that this altered timeline would result in Youngberry, and therefore he thinks himself would no longer have his powers. He takes Youngberry to the research lab to recreate the conditions of his powers' origin. Lightning goes through the older to the younger and knocks out one of his teeth into Youngberry's mouth. I guess his tooth representing the transition of power. This movie...
Yeah, because the lightning couldn't have represented the transfer of power. It had to be a tooth.
Fuck.
Impaling him.
Why?
What did you say,
So
Tin?
stupid.
You know, it could be the great big lightning bolts just impaling the both of them. That
Yeah,
could
that's
be
what I
the-
said. Like, if you're gonna transfer power, the lightning going through both of them in that same shot is what you would assume, but
If it was a smaller case, he could have just spat in his mouth or something.
yeah, a tooth. Amazing.
It could be that the following plot point is that current Flash doesn't have his speed anymore and new Flash does. You
Yeah,
know, maybe that could be an indication that there was a transfer of power.
Yeah, the tooth is a...
Andy writes in the script about a tooth, and the script editor's are like, Andy, why do we need a tooth? It's like, shut the fuck up, we just
It's
need it.
necessary, okay?
New rock stars will get it, no one else will.
I guess this tooth representing the transition of power. This movie really uses Youngberry's early discovery of his powers to give us the movie that a Flash origin movie would have been had Barry Allen not had to have been backdoored in Batman.
Yeah, it is kind of... I kind of like that idea, though, you know, this film is shit. But the idea of having both a Flash origin film and a Flash that's already is already experienced and who has been, you know, doing everything for years now, working together. I think that's a really cool idea because you can do both without having to like redo the origin. So like I think that's cool. The film that had done it well, it would have been cooler, but you know.
Yeah. What can you do though?
Superman and in Justice League, and we really see how older Barry mentoring a younger Barry results in diminishing returns, intellectually a copy of a copy, not unlike Michael Keaton's film Multiplicity. And I feel like all the sloppy spaghetti nom nom nomming in this movie, Barry's nickname of Monkey was at least tangentially in the ether from this movie.
Did you bring me a monkey?
So Zod.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm gonna pretend like what he said was coherent and is not a stretch.
Yeah.
Arrives with the same creepy broadcast as we saw in the 2013 Man of Steel film. Old Barry recalls how he did try to help during that Battle of Metropolis when the World Engine began to terraform the city, and we see his goofy DIY suit, and he saves just one kid, really just by turning him away from seeing his dad die. Recalling that whole idea of save just one person from Justice League, and how during the Battle of Metropolis, Bruce Wayne...
Wasn't that from the non-canon
Wait.
Justice League from 2017 one?
Yeah.
But also, like that's after the Battle of Metropolis. So
Yeah.
surely
Well, he said he
already know
recalled.
that-
He said the scene is recalling the idea, not that Barry was recalling it when he saved just one person. I guess it would if Joss Whedon's Justice League was canon, it would make that this scene here a bit more meaningful because it would tie back in with Barry just saving one person in the Battle of Metropolis. So I guess that would be kind of cool. I mean, unfortunately, it is not canon, so I guess it just doesn't matter.
idea of save just one person from Justice League, and how during the Battle of Metropolis, Bruce Wayne also comforted a kid in Batman v Superman by turning her away from her dead parents in nearby rubble. While Barry looked at the members of the Justice League, Victor Stone, just to see he's still playing football as number 82 for the Gotham City University team. Victor Stone also turned away from us in that photo. Diana in on the map, and he looks up Arthur Curry, finding his father Thomas Curry, lighthouse keeper, everyone's favorite live-action clone trooper Tamora Morrison, making a cameo. Barry asks if his wife is the Queen of Atlantis, and Thomas looks back to see his wife, who isn't Nicole Kidman, but does look like she's about to say, heartbreak feels good in a place like Maine. They talk about how in this timeline, Eric Stoltz was Marty Mc...
It's a reference to the fucking AMC ad.
Okay.
Fly and Back to the Future, it's a reference to how before Michael J. Fox played the role, Eric Stoltz was cast, and they shot huge portions of that movie before recasting Marty with Michael J. Fox. In this timeline, Eric Stoltz was never recast, and young Barry's roommate has a tattoo of Stoltz on his inner thigh. And it's
Yes, that scene went on for like 3 years. It just never
Yeah,
stopped.
that was not a detail we could have missed.
Yeah, that was like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't know the actual real world
if you don't know
story,
the IRL lore,
yeah, all you know is
about
that
Eric
it
Stoltz,
wasn't Michael J. Fox. Like you still get the idea of the scene. I guess the detail you could have missed is that it was actually like, you know, he could have been cast. He could have been in the actual film.
Note that at one point, Back to the Future director Robert Zemeckis was attached to direct this movie. As with Back to the Future, especially Back to the Future Part 2, he really perfected all the blocking and VFX of doubling up an actor with a body double to share a scene with himself, which he definitely built on in this movie. Now, we don't know if it's just the roommate's confusion or this being an alternate timeline, but they do say that Michael J. Fox was in Footloose, which would be plausible because he was a big sitcom star in the 80s, but then they...
Oh my god, okay, move on. Jesus Christ.
Say Kevin Bacon was in Top Gun, which is also plausible because he would have been a big star in the 80s. And then they talk about
Stop it,
telling me that everything is plausible.
Why Tom Cruise overpraised this movie. Which...
Okay.
Imagine going from Top Gun Maverick to that to praising the fucking Flash movie.
He got brain damage while flying the ship.
It's worth noting Tom Cruise isn't the brightest individual.
Oh no, yeah,
anyway,
he's
so-
insane. He is insane. He's a Scientologist.
That is true. Yeah.
Plausible because he would have been a big star in the 80s. And then they talk about the volleyball, the gay guys, and the planes, which might be why Tom Cruise overpraised this movie when he
Yes, I overpraised this movie because it references a movie I was in 30 years ago. Well done. By this logic, like if you have something like Community or something, it should be like the most praised TV show ever made, right? Because it references films all the time. You should have like, oh my god, did you see the Community reference this film from the 60s? Whoa, I love this.
I just actually read this headline. It says he spent 15 minutes
praising.
Do you realize how long 15 minutes is?
It's an entire
shit.
video essay.
That's got to be a lie.
A beautiful lie, some might say.
But his roommate does get one reference saying, "I'm Batman," quoting the Michael Keaton version of Batman, and I guess that would have become a kind of catchphrase that he would have said a lot over the years. Now,
sure.
Let's talk about
If you say so. If you want this version of Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, just simply say "I'm Batman" over and over as he's fucking killing.
I mean, this one tries to say that "Let's get nuts" is his catchphrase.
Well, they say both. He does say, "Yeah, I'm Batman," and then he says "Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts," which is also two of the worst line deliveries in the film. Are those two lines? So that's great.
You don't know acting.
I wish I did. Hold on.
Version of Batman, and I guess that would have become a kind of catchphrase that he would have said a lot over the years. Now, let's talk about something that we never knew we needed, but now can never get enough of: Magic the Gathering's upcoming Universes Beyond.
Oh,
set.
for
The Lord
fuck's
of
sake.
Rings-
I knew it wasn't Ned because the audio quality was different. He was closer to the camera, but I was like, maybe he just filmed this on different days, but no.
You can pre-order now the Lord of the Rings.
Okay, no.
No.
Who plays Magic
I think we're
Gathering?
done. I think we're done.
Third, on to Wayne Manor,
Yeah.
which is now the Burghley House in Stanford, Lincolnshire, England, relocated from the Nebworth House from the 1989 Batman film. Now, that mansion exterior was actually changed to a matte painting in 1992's Batman Returns. But
don't
think this
care.
could just be another detail pointing to this being not quite Earth 89.
But it's
from
an
the-
Easter egg.
So it
Jeb.
isn't exactly the 1989 Batman. See, Jeb, our Michael Keaton, the one we like, is fine. This one's dead because this universe is doomed. But yeah, we're fine. It's fine.
They just couldn't use the same house, which means everything radically changes, you see.
Well, if they can't use the same house, it does imply it's a different universe from the 89 film, but still being Michael Keaton playing it. The same way where we talk about like Andrew and Toby in No Way Home. You get the point, Joe.
Well, what if the house is destroyed?
He couldn't
the
have
real
moved,
one.
Jeb. Shut up.
I mean, there was like 3 different houses he used all for that sort of timeline, so it's kind of plausible. But
Shut
it
up,
just-
Tid. I'm trying to
it just-
save
it just-
this
it-
film.
Nah, I'm saying it makes more sense if it is a different timeline.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. See, Tin is on my side. We're saving
Yeah,
Michael
that's-
Keaton.
That's a bad thing. Tin on your side is not what you want.
That's
Jeb, you got
that's
your
me.
answer in chat. Chester and Allegra would play Magic the Gathering.
I'm afraid they wouldn't. I think they have taste.
I think they have
I
more
think-
self-respect than that, honestly.
I think that they raid Shadow Legends.
They just use the board as like a sex pest.
Yeah.
Speaking of Raid Shadow Legends, this episode of ECUM is
It's sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Do you know what the hottest game in town is right now? I don't remember the actual copy pasta. I would say it if I
In
knew it.
town.
Yeah.
You mean the whole planet?
Sorry, my bad. Yeah.
I play both. It's just bad. Yes, it means you are lonely in life and you should get off this stream.
No, D&D is cool. Anyway.
80s and 90s movies. Inside, Bruce does have a similar room with a collection of armor and weaponry as we saw in the 89 film, but in this film, the room has exterior windows with light pouring in, as opposed to it being just an inner room of the mansion.
Because
In
it's
the
a different
kitchen,
fucking
Yeah,
house,
it's a different
man.
house. Yeah, you already pointed out that it is. Obviously, if the outside is entirely different, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
different
it's-
inside.
Like, yeah, it's meant to emulate it, but it's a different house. It
Yeah,
is
it's like, oh, I have
objectively-
furniture from my old house moved into my new one. Obviously, I'm gonna have a room with my armors, but if the new room that I use has windows, it's gonna have windows. What? It's a different house. The names Chester and Allegra make me want to kill myself. Me too, because I know I'll never have the romance that they have. They're just so
No, me
heartwarming.
You know what I just realized?
Mm,
You know the joke in Doctor Who when then closing timer is like, oh, you redecorate. I don't like it.
yeah.
It's a different house you moved.
Yeah, that would have actually been fun. There's no way they could have done that, though. But to make a joke like that, like, oh, you redecorated, but he didn't redecorate. He just moved house. You got what I mean. You got the point. I agree with you too. Yeah.
Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne, crawls out of a cupboard, a creepy background detail that feels like Muschietti playing homage to his shots of Pennywise and It. Are
Yes, sure.
What?
It's definitely
What the
hard to.
fuck?
It was definitely very easy to miss. Fucking Batman crawling
Yeah,
out of a
holy
cupboard.
shit! I didn't know that. I didn't
Won't
see
he be
him.
out, seeing as this came out in June and he came out of a closet.
Yeah.
Thank God New Rockstars was here to point this out. Otherwise, I would have called it a plot hole.
Yeah.
Reiner Gina pointed out, and I very much agree, that Keaton's Bruce in this movie is at least a subtle homage to the dude in The Big Lebowski, flip-flops, a cardigan, the long
Sure.
hair, and that perhaps all this movie's
think I
references
agree.
are messages to Barry for things he needs to do, like the dude abides, and Barry just needs to just
What?
abide and
Oh my god, I'm gonna kill
What?
myself. There's no way. You
Stop.
made a good point that
What's happening?
Keaton's Batman was a reference to the dude in Big Lebowski. I think that's fair. I think it probably makes sense. And then you went too far. You always take it just one step too far. You gotta back off, man. Take your foot off the crazy pedal. Jesus, man.
not try to change his fate, which is also the lesson Marty McFly learns at the end of Back to the Future Part 3. Not the first Back to the Future. Marty absolutely changes his fate, and the whole thing is really a hilarious reflection on the commercial aspirationalism of the 1980s, and I love it. Bruce flings the frying pan, and Youngberry dodges it in slow motion, just like Barry did with the Batarang in
already
Justice
pointed
League,
this
but
out.
Oldberry just gets
Whoa,
whacked with
dodging shit
Yeah.
is Justice League invented that. Yeah, Flash has never dodged anything before.
It's-
It's the blueprint.
To be fair, it is the same shot. Like, it's the frame that way. It's definitely a reference to that first scene.
Oh, is it framed like that?
Yeah, it's framed the exact same way with the way he dodges it
It's
and
like
everything.
Batman throwing something at him, so
Yeah.
it's like
It is definitely 100% a reference to that scene in
Oh,
Justice
okay.
League. Yeah. Which I think is
forgive me, Mr. Rockstars.
Yeah. I think it's fine.
with everything. This is all set to Chicago's 250624, which is a reference
Okay.
to a time of day early in the morning when this song was written. Just another reference to time in this movie.
Whoa.
Glad you
Whoa,
yelled that.
Time.
The time travel movie references time. What?
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Jim's gonna say it's one of the best superheroes movie of all time. Who put that clown in charge of DC? I mean, really weird to call him a clown, but also he is in charge of DC. What do you expect him to say, that it's not good?
Yeah,
I do generally think he did like it, but I also think when your reboot is hinging on this one film being a success, you gotta sell it as best as you can.
of course he's gonna hype it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it as this: I don't give a shit what a director or writer's views on media is. I just care that they put out good content.
Yeah.
James Gunn puts out good content. That's all I care.
Yeah. Like, Mike Flanagan
Yeah.
likes some stuff that I hate, but he still has made the best TV shows that I've ever seen in my life. So,
Edgar Wright literally praised this film.
yeah.
I like you know it happens. So
Yeah. He's a great filmmaker. He's probably just not got the best opinions. That's what I said earlier, like with Tarantino. It's fine. It happens.
the best British TV writer to me, Russell T Davies, loves the Chibnall Who era.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah, so much so that when Power Doctor came out, he was doing more advertising for the episode than the show was.
It's,
Yeah.
to a time of day early in the morning when this song was written. Just another reference to time in this movie. Bruce uses uncooked spaghetti noodles to explain the alternate multiverse logic of this movie, as opposed to Avengers Endgame, which dealt with branch timelines. This movie poses that ruptures to the timeline. At these fulcrum points, you end up on alternate life paths that had already been unfolding differently. Thus why Eric Stoltz in the past, in the 1980s of this reality, was Marty McFly. A little detail: while Barry's mother Nora used canned tomatoes and freshly made pasta, Bruce uses store-bought dry pasta and a huge freaking brick of fresh Parmesan, which
I don't know why is he pointing this out as a detail.
How do you
more
go?
Expensive, but he is a billionaire and an eccentric. The Barrys.
How do you watch this film and just notice that? How like autistic do you have to be?
Yeah.
Being in the timelines, how is that the thing that your eye draws to?
What? Wait, what? James Gunn didn't have a
James
massive
Gunn
head in
didn't
the
have a
first two
massive
Guardians of
head.
the... What are you talking about? He wrote and directed them. He is the voice for all three Guardians of the Galaxy films. What?
The only other person that had any input was Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
that was it.
only with the first, not the second. And with the first, he just helped him in terms of like doing comedy mostly on how to introduce it into that universe.
Like Rocket Raccoon, for example, is literally a James Gunn self-insert character.
Yeah. No, yeah, sorry. What do you mean he didn't have... He only had complete... No, he had complete control of all three. He said it many times, but where did he take this from? He said it so many times that he always had full control. That the only thing that Marvel ever asked of him was to have a scene with Thanos in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. And then he had Thanos be actually somewhat part of the story.
Even if it was false, that wasn't the point you made, Kakashi. You said he didn't have a massive hand.
Yeah.
Massive hand and complete control.
Yeah, but he had
It's like-
complete control anyway. And I
Yeah.
don't think the 3 was the weakest of the trilogy, but that's beside the point.
I think 1 is pretty easily.
Yeah, me too. But that's just because 2 and 3 are that good. Anyway,
Huh.
It's
he
well
didn't actually
documented.
write the whole two movies. He did. What are you talking about? Can you provide
it's-
some references?
Yeah, if it's well documented that you're disproving this and found a conspiracy, please.
Yeah.
I'd like to
If
see
he's
that.
referencing like the original first draft by like a different writer, James Gunn completely wrote over it and redid it. So like he that was all him.
I'm not interested in getting into which one's the weakest. I'm kind
Yeah,
of
that's
like
beside the point, yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, if you think the third is the weakest, whatever, I don't care.
I'll find them and I'll be back. That's what
Alright.
Soapy said.
Oh no, Jeff.
fresh Parmesan, which would have been more expensive, but he is a billionaire and an eccentric. The Barrys enter the Batcave, and Danny Elfman's music is swelling. We revisit the sweeping Art Deco designs of the cave interior, just these impractical
Yeah, it
clips of
was
the
cool.
Batmobile, as well as the lovely old school computer interface with Keaton's Bat computer with its roller ball scrolling mouse. After uncovering the Batmobile, Youngberry finds a bag that laughs.
I don't remember that. Okay, he's okay. You're still
Yeah, we got
going.
it.
We got the point, yeah.
He broke.
Yeah.
A nod to the silk bag that Jim Gordon found on Jack Nicholson's Joker's dead body at the end of the '89 film. And I explained in my deep dive of that movie that a later comic revealed that it was a laughing box inside of the silk bag, but in my headcanon, it was a bomb that Joker planned to use to scar Harvey Dent's face, Billy D. Williams.
In
the
your
press conference at
headcanon.
Yeah, what?
Lovely.
Why?
His
That's-
89
yeah.
video seems so unhinged as well. Like, what? This is your advertising for your 89 video. My headcanon is that the thing that actually happened in canon isn't what happened, and it's this entire conspiracy I made.
I just want to read this to go back to the Guardians thing, where just for Guardians 1. This is on Wikipedia. It does have reference sources.
Of course.
Whilst Perman did create a draft, Gunn eventually rewrote the script entirely because it didn't work for him. He later explained that the draft was very different from the script he used during filming. Different story, character arcs, and no Walkman. It also had Jason as an emperor and Star-Lord's father, just like in the comic books, for example.
Mhm.
And Whedon wasn't happy with Perlman's draft either and wanted a weirder draft. And there was some debate on whether keeping Rocket as a member of the Guardians or even featuring him in the film at all. So, yeah.
Nice.
And this, I think it's so weird, especially the second one, because it's so clearly a James Gunn film. Because like the first
Yeah.
one, it feels more like a Marvel film. If I want to say he didn't have full control, I mean, I disagree, but still, whatever. The second and third one is what third one, you know, this person admitted was clearly James Gunn, but like second one, like, come on.
And the press conference that he knew would announce this Joker's defeat in the final scene of that movie. The pen that Barry uses is inscribed with a message from this Bruce's Alfred, presumably the one played by the late Michael Goff. Bruce touches a photo of himself with his parents and see that his fingers are bruised, showing that he still might be doing some crime fighting or at least training. He scanned.
I kind of doubt that because he says Gotham's like, one of the safest places in the world, and everything being so dusty kind of implies that he hasn't been Batman for ages. So like,
He just punches bags, I guess.
He's going out and punching innocent people now.
Yeah.
well, this is Keaton Batman, so he is a bit of a crazy. So he could just be civilians.
his eye to open this batsuit room. From the left, there is the year one batsuit with gun holsters. Uh-oh. Then a batsuit with a blue cowl, showing how he had a similar design taste as Batfleck. Third from the left.
Sure, I think it's more of a reference to the comics than Batfleck.
Yeah, why are
Yeah.
you saying this is a Batfleck
Like
thing?
Batfleck's suit is literally just his suit, but blue. But whereas that one's like,
Yeah.
it even has like the blue one. It has the underwear on the suit as well. So like very much comic.
Mm-hmm.
Left is the
Nope,
1989
Snyder is the blueprint.
Yes. Well, I guess Andy Muschietti is his own blueprint. He copied himself.
Suit. You can tell the alternate chest emblem. Then to the right of that, the 1992 Batman Returns suit with the updated emblem and the cape clasps pulled back a bit. Then a scuba batsuit, and then a desert terrain batsuit with goggles. And in the middle is his current batsuit, which really merges the best of the design elements of these, including angular eyebrows on the cowl to match Keaton's natural eyebrow shape, which I explained in my breakdown is really just to make his mask more of a theatrical reflection of the damaged soul underneath. Barry wakes up to
Sure.
find a mostly redacted document reporting on the
Okay.
arrival of Kryptonian to Earth, including a mention of a metallic crystal, which might be these same crystal chunks that impale young Barry to disfigure him into Dark Flash later. The Batwing lowers.
Huh. That is an interesting detail. Okay, sure. I'm okay with that one. It would have been more interesting if we actually had like a confirmation with like a sequel.
like-
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
the kind of
maybe,
problem.
like-
This is like the same problem I had with the Snyder cut, where it doesn't feel like its own film. It feels like it's setting up a sequel. Like, just complete your own story. You know you're not gonna get to do a sequel. Like, it's just annoying to see things be set up for later.
Yeah.
Like an actual bat hanging from the stalactites. And Batman says the line.
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Over his head,
I
half the
clap.
lights are burnt out, showing how little he's really.
Just saying,
What?
I can't watch this scene again without the meme where it says like, yeah, I'm man.
Man.
Did you just hear what he was saying about the lights?
Yeah, I want to know
Yeah.
what he's gonna follow this up with.
Batman.
Over his head, half the lights are burnt out, showing how little he's really kept up this Batcave, or at least no longer has an Alfred to help him with it. Later, when he calls back.
I mean, yeah, he's right about that one. I thought he was gonna say like
Okay.
it's burnt out, like his mind is burnt out or something like that.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
Like he
Only
hasn't been-
half of the light is on.
like
Yeah.
he's hasn't been Batman for so long because he's so half retired and half burnt out.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna say that, like how his mind is like half not here or something like that, you know. But it's just like
Yeah.
he's not kept up. It's like, yeah, that is factual.
Back his other big line from the 1989 film.
You want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
The ring of
Woo,
lights over
applause.
his head is all illuminated,
Whoa,
making the image of an angelic halo, perhaps.
angelic
You
halo.
know, it's
Sure.
entirely possible that like in between the trips he could have just put in a new bulb.
No, that was like different place as well, right? I think he was on a
Yeah,
different
like
platform.
it's very clearly like a different platform. Like the Batcave isn't that small, you know. It's a cave.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, like, to be a little more illuminated there, where it's more of a hopeful moment, whereas firstly it was more of him, like, regaining, I guess, his strength. It's just, like, such basic, like, oh, look at the lights. It's like, so, I don't know.
It's a sign
Also-
that this
Sorry.
I was gonna say I like how he's gonna do the Halo reference when you consider Keaton's Batman was infamous for killing.
Yeah, and
like-
being crazy
like-
in general.
I saw people
Yeah.
saying like Gotham was like the safe one of the safest cities on earth because he killed all the criminals.
If you kill all the criminals, there are no criminals left. It just makes sense, to be honest. Minority Report, you know?
angelic halo, perhaps a sign that this Bruce is destined to die at the end of this path in this timeline. They take
What?
That's even dumber.
What?
That's even
Wait,
stupider.
what
How many
does
birds?
what does being What does being an angel have to do with dying? What?
Well, because
He
you
goes to
'cause
heaven.
yeah, he becomes an angel with wings when he
Right,
dies.
so when he dies, he's gonna become an angel. That was the idea.
Yeah.
Hey, when he dies, he becomes an angel and replaced with George Clooney.
Amen.
Take the Batwing to Siberia, and Batman ejects as Elfman's theme just starts pumping, and the Batwing is framed in the light of the moon, a visual callback to
Yes, very,
Whoa.
very easy to
Very
miss detail.
missable.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I definitely missed it.
Tim Burton's shot in the 1989 film that
The 89 shot is cooler.
Yeah, 'cause
Recreated that.
at least the A9 shot is centered, whereas on the Flash one, it's just a little bit too much.
No, but
The
sorry.
camera's shaking though during the scene, so
Yeah, I don't even. That's not even
That's
my
fine.
issue. I think both look fine. I just like the 89 one more because it's kind of more campy, and I like that.
Yeah, true.
signal. It's so great. They
That's
find
why
the
you like
Kryptonian
Flash.
Chamber, and Youngberry
Yes,
says
it's so
that's where you
campy.
keep Superman in a big scrotum, which is kind of ironic given Kal-El's escape pod that left Krypton and Man of Steel
Of
was designed to
course.
look like a sperm cell to reflect Kal-El's possession of the full Kryptonian genetic codex, which
Yeah, and all the
We learned
ships and Krypton look like dildos. So, yeah. Kryptonians did definitely have a thing for genitals.
like a sperm,
mean-
sperm cell to reflect Kal-El's possession of the full Kryptonian genetic codex, which we learned in this movie Kara has. Inside, they find an emaciated Kara Zor-El, Kal-El's cousin, weakened from the lack of access to Earth's sun. She wears this drab prison clothing with Russian lettering that translates to the most dangerous. They escape the guards. And
her shirt says the most dangerous.
most
That's
dangerous.
amazing.
The most dangerous.
The most dangerous. That's
that feels like a that feels like a shirt an edgy teenager would wear. The
Yeah.
most dangerous.
that's hilarious.
the most dangerous. They escape the guards and they make it to this lift where Batman extends measuring tape from his crotch region. It kind of looks like 7 inches. Nice. He asks the berries how much they weigh, which is a callback to when he asked Vicky
Okay.
Vale her weight before sending her with the grappling hook in the 89 film. Outside, there is a solid 2-minute long take. First, we see Kara's hand in the sunlight gaining strength, and then her ascent happens off screen so that when Batman lowers his fist, she is framed directly behind it. She takes out the other guards and she
Whoa.
zips back
Whoa.
to block a bullet that was headed directly for Bruce's mouth. Back in the mansion, as they watch the news report.
That wasn't a missable detail. That was very whatever.
Reports about
New
zombies
rock
actually
stars missed it, and then he caught it when he watched it again.
That's fair.
at the bottom of the newscast reading Theramos Pharmaceuticals declares bankruptcy. So in this universe, it's Theramos instead of Theranos, which also just sounds like thermos. I love it. Kara regains
Oh my god.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it that it almost sounds like thermos.
That's wow. I'm losing my mind, man. What the hell is even happening? He's just saying words that vaguely relate to the film, honestly. The illusion of one take. That wasn't even an illusion. It was so clearly CGI for like 90% of it. I was like, yeah, obviously, that's how they did one take.
I like the Big Bang Theory as a guilty pleasure. I don't think it's actually good. This guy'd be frothing at the mouth at all the references.
Oh yeah, the Big Bang Theory is actually even a better example than Community, what I said about like everyone praising it. Oh, it referenced the thing I was in. It's perfect.
her powers in the sunlight and she flies off. Bruce devises a bat kite to harness lightning to restore Old Barry's powers. It doesn't work, so Kara flies him up to finish the job. Youngberry takes the night.
Which also doesn't work, and then other Barry touches him, and then it finally works. That scene was amazing.
92 batsuit to engineer this new flexible DIY flash suit, sawing off the cowl's ears to make it more aerodynamic. But the fact that this Barry was in a batsuit might have led to his dark flash looking more
What?
nightmarish, because Bruce designed these to look like monstrous gargoyles and strike fear in the hearts of others.
What?
You kind of remove the fear factor when you cut off the ears and the cape and paint
Yeah.
it bright red.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reason he looked like that is because he got a bunch of metal pieces.
Yeah, it's a
Flung
bunch of
into him.
crystal thingies
Yeah,
stuck.
nothing to do with the suit.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not thanks to the bat suit.
Yeah. This is just him wanting to say that he knows why the cowl looks like a bat and everything.
Gargoyles and strike fear in the hearts of others. Case in point, Old Barry has a nightmare jump scare of Dark Flash who snarls at the camera, and since Muschietti was a horror director doing a superhero movie now, it kind of feels like Sam Raimi's random Green Goblin
It does not. What? He doesn't even feel that horror-ish. It's just a nightmare. Like, fucking Multiverse of Madness was like more horror-ish than this.
Scare in Spider-Man
Yeah.
2002. Kara returns.
Do you know what the symbol stands for?
Hope in it.
Supergirl means hope, right?
A callback to Man of Steel when we learn the House of
Callback, yes. When is a callback just like a
Yes.
thing that's established in universe? You know? Like
Callback
Snyder-
to
Iron Man
just
uses
simply-
his like propulsion blasters to fly. Oh, that's a callback to Iron Man 2008.
An actual callback is like when whatever her name is said about wanting like hamburgers. That's a callback.
What? When?
In Endgame, when Happy asks what
Oh yeah,
Tony's daughter wants.
yeah,
That's an actual callback. There we go.
yeah. Or just Tony saying "I am Iron Man." That's a callback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
L sigil translates to hope. And when they jet over to the desert, Youngberry tries to turn his head, and that 92 cowl, just a running joke of the old batsuit designs, making it impossible to turn your head. In addition to Michael Shannon returning as Zod in this movie, Angie Trey returns as Feora Ul, his Kryptonian second in command from the 2013 movie. Early in the battle, Youngberry gets slashed across the face with that Kryptonian weaponry, this first instance of his disfigurement. Zod reveals to Kara that they intercepted Kal-El's pod, and the infant did not survive. So from there forward, Kara is just dead set on killing Zod. Actually, the berries wanted to avert
Whoa,
her
that's a
That's
detail
sad.
I missed.
Yeah, she's
That's
dead set on killing
cool.
Zod, except for when she just stops to talk to him for like
yeah.
ages and then doesn't fucking do anything. Ugh, so annoying. She just waits for him to gain his powers more and more. He's under the fucking Earth Sun.
Well, it can't be a Flash film without someone stopping to talk.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
fate. They really should have intercepted earlier to keep her from learning that. Despite their progress in this battle, it ends with Batman kamikazeing the Batwing into Zod's ship shield, and Kara
It
gets
was
stabbed by
fucking
Zod for trying to
hilarious.
stop the world engine. So the berries re-enter the Chrono Bowl to try to fix this, and when they return, I like that they loop back precisely on the moment their past selves went boot to boot and dunked on all those Kryptonians, meaning that they were preoccupied with this low-hanging fruit and they wouldn't have gotten in the way of themselves. But
That's fine. That's a fine detail to point out. You know what? I'm okay with that. Makes sense. But then the film kind of forgets that there were other berries.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of
Yeah.
disappear.
Multiply.
Yeah. They just disappear, even though they establish that there are other berries, and then every time they go back, there's just 0 different berries because the film forgets its own rules.
Like, it probably would have broken the rules, but at least I would have expected the film to have them then bump into the opposite version where, like, they think they.
Oh yeah, that would have
kinda
made
like-
sense. Like, our Barry talks to 2013 Barry from the original timeline. Like, yeah, that
but he
could have been
thinks
cool.
he-
But he thinks it's like the actual Barry and not the one that time traveled.
Yeah,
That's
it's like-
interesting.
Like, that would have been something kind of cool to do, but instead
Yeah.
they just kind of forget there's 2 other berries.
Yeah.
now Batman gets hit by the big Kryptonian and he tries to eject with the Batwing, but he's just sustained too many injuries, and Kara doesn't make it either. This time when Bruce dies, Barry says, "We couldn't bring you back, could we?" And Bruce says, "You already did." And then he looks up, his body going still and lifeless. Perhaps he's looking into the beyond, all the spheres of the other universe soon also being brought back.
Are you fucking stupid?
He's
What?
dead. He's not looking at it. He died.
He's seeing all the other worlds. Whoa.
Except
Did I-
the other worlds physically aren't on Earth and that, they're just in the ball things. Or
Yeah, what? That's what? Eric Voss, why do
I
you
mean-
do
I mean-
this? You could could just not do this. You could just not say this.
I mean, if he was looking up at anything, he could just go, "Sun's in my eyes."
Yeah.
Ow.
But you see, but then the video can't be 24 minutes long.
Yeah. Like 90% of this is just like making the video this long. Because this video could have been 5 minutes long and had the same amount of substance without the insane
But
reaches.
then he can't get mid-roll ads. He can't get a
True.
bunch of them.
All the spheres of the other universe soon also being brought back. Young Barry gets his arm impaled with Kryptonian metal shards, and his body just heals around it, allowing him to weaponize these in this savage way. He loops back again and again and again, his body growing more disfigured until the Chrono Bowl just ruptured and Dark Flash appears, who we learn is a young Barry, aged countless years into the future after countless failures to fix things. Remember, earlier Barry said that some individuals and timelines were attracted to each other through destiny like magnets, and now it appears like different universes magnetized to each each other, we counted 5 different Chrono Bowls colliding here. The first is a black and white one showing George Reeves' Superman from the 50s TV series Adventures of Superman. His stands are actually filled with the black-headed robot from season 1, episode 17, the Runaway Robot. At the center of that Chrono Bowl is an alternate Flash running in place, Jay Garrick, played by Teddy Sears from the CW
Okay,
Flash.
I want to pause this because there's something funny. Teddy says that she doesn't remember filming this.
Yeah, apparently, it's just a sort of random CGI guy. Like it's not meant to look like anyone. It's like it honestly makes the whole thing like everyone was saying. Oh, they had one Jay Garrick and they got the wrong actor. Turns out they had Jay Garrick and they didn't get any actor.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, he doesn't remember it because he was taking care of his kid apparently.
Yeah, and also like there's also the whole fact that using George Reeves is a bit of an iffy choice considering his situation.
Yeah.
Especially since the film came out on the anniversary of his death.
Oh yeah, I thought it was on his birthday, but still, whatever. Shitty either way.
That's unfortunate.
Flash series when he played Jay Garrick from Earth 3, and you see he's wearing the Crimson Comet old school helmet. George Reeves was actually
No, he played Zoom. He played Zoom, my guy. He played
Yeah.
Zoom. He was Earth 2 Zoom. He wasn't Earth 3 at all.
Did he not ever? No, yeah, no.
He was never Jake Garrick.
Yeah, Jay Garrick was
ever.
only John Wesley shit.
Yeah.
You don't know the Arrowverse.
If anyone knows the Arrowverse,
It's
it's gonna
Jeb.
be me.
Yeah.
by Ben Affleck in the 2006 film Hollywoodland, which has one of the most anxiety-filled moments I
Wait,
think
what are
I've
we
seen
doing?
in any movie. An incident that George Reeves actually experienced.
Can I shoot you?
Why would you want to do something like that?
What's happening?
So the bullet.
Why are we doing this?
He's
is a film
explaining
about-
the George Reeves.
It's a film about George Reeves starring Ben Affleck, his time as the Superman actor, and also like the investigation of his death.
Can I?
If you did shoot me and the bullet bounced off it might accidentally hit someone else.
Then this blue universe sphere with the late Christopher Reeve Superman.
He looks so bad. It's so
Uh.
good. He looks so much like a PS2 character. It's fucking amazing.
Recreated with CGI.
It's like he literally does. Like, honest to God, his face just looks flat.
It
Like,
looks.
genuinely looks
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it looks like a polygon.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looks like when the game's struggling to load in. You know, when textures popping in. That's the kind of thing that looks like.
Yes.
And at his side, Supergirl from the 1984 film played by Helen Slater. I think this would be less controversial to recreate Christopher Reeve like this if they just use archive footage of Reeve.
Agreed. Agreed.
No, just use fucking Ruth. That's all you
No,
gotta
yeah,
do.
it has to be Brandon Routh. It just makes more sense. But if you are going to use Reeves, it makes so much more sense to use archive footage than CGI.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's the more respectful thing to do.
You don't know respect.
When Bootneck posted that photo, I thought it was the PS2 Superman game.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, TC.
Yeah, it is actually from the film.
Him to make new gestures and expressions, but alas, then this golden sphere showing.
He doesn't even need to do new gestures and expressions. He's just standing there. Like, it doesn't matter.
the late Adam West Batman, and I think behind him you can see his retro 60s Batmobile.
Sure.
And then this green sphere with Nicolas Cage Superman,
Ugh.
long-haired, the same suit that he tried on in the famous 90s Tim Burton wardrobe test for Superman Lives. And here he's fighting a giant spider. This came from Kevin Smith's story when he was hired to write a version of the script, and producer John Peters had some bizarre
Kevin
demands
Smith,
for him on
let's go.
Yay.
how he wanted Kevin to write the Superman character.
He's going 3 things. Okay, I said, all right. So 1, I don't want to see him in that suit. 2, I don't want to see him fly.
What?
And 3, he's got to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act.
And I like how each of these spheres from outside look like stacks of celluloid film strips, kind of like we're peering.
No, it does not. It really doesn't.
I kind of got more like a you know, like the construction site of a skyscraper sort of.
They give me disco ball vibes.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
vibe I get. Disco Ball, yeah.
backwards into cinematic history. So Youngberry sacrifices himself to erase Dark Flash from existence, and the multiverse all recedes, and Barry returns to the supermarket to put the canned tomatoes back. But on a high enough shelf,
That's a
so that
detail I
Henry
missed.
Allen's face would show up on that security camera, and he'd be exonerated. So Barry says goodbye to Nora by saying the full "I love you more, I love you first" phrase. This speedster finally able to beat his mom to the punch here. Outside the courthouse, the camera guy, whose hot dog gets stolen, is a cameo by director Andy Muschietti. And Barry, despite thinking he has
Didn't he say that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, we
already
did that.
He's He's repeated like 3 or 4 references in this video.
Why?
Make the video longer, you know. So like, oh, this is a reference to the Justice League. Like, and then he's like, oh, it's again a reference to Justice League when Barry dodges the thing.
Or fixed universe, the Bruce Wayne of this universe is George Clooney. Last seen in 1997's Batman and Robin. Now, this doesn't mean Barry is in that movie's universe because
Yeah, it just means it's in the universe where George Clooney is Batman.
Because like if you look at Gotham there and compare it to one on those films, in those films, it looks like the Burton Gotham if it was sneezed out by a clown high on jelly bean.
Yeah, maybe it is this Gotham. We don't see it after the film ends, so maybe it is. Not after the film ends, after we see Clooney. After you see him in the new universe. Because he's not in Gotham, right? For the court case, he's in wherever.
Oh, yeah.
that was technically Earth 89, which has some crazy Joel Schumacher production design that this universe doesn't seem to have. He's just in a side universe where Bruce just happens to be George Clooney, and Aquaman just happens to be Jason Momoa, as we learn in this movie's post-credit scene. It ends with Barry's tooth falling out, which, you know, it's probably going to fall out anyway from all that junk food the guy has to starve down to stay energized. But what are your thoughts on this movie? And remember to subscribe.
Wow.
Or it's just going to fall down because he's trying to fix it with fucking super glue.
Yeah, it's a fucking tooth. He needs to go to a dentist.
Yeah.
he is American, to be fair. He ain't afforded a dentist. Ignore that he knows Bruce Wayne.
I was about... Well, Jab. Are you really, as a British person, saying that Americans can't afford a dentist? Like that's the entire thing. That British people don't go to the dentist. Come on, Jab.
Yeah, but we could afford dentists. We just choose not to. Americans cannot afford a dentist.
Yeah, that's fair. Youngberry suicides to kill his future self, is trying to kill his past self, right? No, it's by accident, right? That Savitar ends up killing him. I guess he does suicide in a way that he puts himself in front of the other Barry to protect him, I guess. And then Savitar accidentally does that because it's not like he has super speed and can super react to a Barry going in front of him. Anyway, yeah, that's what happens. So he saves the self from other thing to do the thing. It's great. It makes perfect sense if you don't think about the logic of the time travel in the film. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. Barry tries to kill Barry, but Barry steps in the way of Barry, which kills Barry and erases Barry. Yep, that's exactly correct. Not confusing at all.
What do you guys think of the Superman casting? I don't know, like, I haven't watched what the guy's been in, but just looks wise. I like it.
He looks like a regen of Henry Cavill, so like, yeah.
Well, actually, I'd say he looks more like a mix of Henry Cavill and Tom Welling.
Yeah.
Sure.
But also just saying, like, Jeb shared it into the GC, but there's that one clip of him in a mini-series called Hollywood on Netflix, which I guess we could probably check out, but, like, in that one clip alone, he radiates more Clark Kent energy than Henry Cavill ever did, to be perfectly honest. Like, ever did with Snyder's writing, is what I should say.
Yeah.
All I could say is James Gunn cast, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Bradley Cooper as Rocket, Carrigan's Nebula as someone. I trust his casting decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Anyway. Yeah, that was new Rockstars for you.
Oh, that's it? Oh, I thought there was like one more thing slipped in, but I guess not.
Nah, now it's just him shilling his other channels. To be fair, they do have other videos if you want to. We want to watch his video about the post-credit scene.
Yeah, he says the post-credit scene's like a different video.
Yeah, he usually does that.
What's the what's on the agenda though? What else do we got for video wise? You had more, right?
Well, there's obviously High Top's video if you want to catch that, but there are like 6 more new Rockstars Flash videos if you want to keep on the new Rockstars agenda.
That was a very excited, oh fuck them advocate.
Yeah. See, there's the Flash post-credit scene plus ending explained. Spoilers. The Flash every cameo, they see multiverse scene explained. Spoilers. The Flash breakdown. Oh, that's the one we watched. The Flash timeline explained. Nora Allen's killer revealed. And there's the Flash. What went wrong? Did it deserve to flop? So those are the new Rockstars videos. And then there's obviously High Tops, but you said that was boring, so...
I don't really remember it, actually. I just Yeah, I don't
What?
really remember any of it. I turned it off for some reason. I'm assuming because I just wasn't entertained.
Are you not entertained?
I like the idea of doing the what went wrong.
Right.
Did it deserve to flop? I think there's a lot of interesting factors with the Flash.
Yeah, that could be a good discussion at least.
Cool beans.
Welcome.
Let me... You know what? Before we start this video, I have to pee real quick. So
Same
you
here.
talk. Jesus Christ, no, Jeb. You're the one... Madvocate, talk to chat. Chat is here because of you. We have like twice as many viewers as usual because of you, so talk to them. Entertain them.
All right. All right, let's see. Someone says relocate him. Yeah, I guess whoever should be doing the relocating should do that. James Gunn casted Idris Elba as Bloodsport. He's mad insane in his castings, but usually right. Is Idris Elba mad insane or James Gunn?
I'm not quite sure because Idris Elba as Bloodsport was pretty good casting, but like
in his castings, I'm assuming James Gunn, but usually right. Why would it be but usually right if you already said he's mad insane in his castings? Unless he means Idris Elba always plays a mad insane person. Who knows? TC probably made a typo in there somewhere as usual, and now I can't interpret this message correctly.
It's TC. You just gotta do it.
Let's see.
I'm back.
What does Shandy say? Oh, he said also congrats on nearly 2K subs.
Thanks, Shandy.
I think that was a joke, folks. This was a while back, so I'm not sure what Shandy's referring to.
That was about the tooth falling in the video. I saw when he said that. The bear's tooth.
Oh, that new Rockstar was saying it was a joke that the tooth would fall out anyway because he has to eat a lot.
I think it was just Shandy saying like I think it was a joke. What new Rockstar said of being like, oh, his tooth would fall off anyway because of the fast food.
You described exactly what I just explained.
Hello.
Thank you.
Sorry. So, but yeah, it was
Shandy,
like obviously it was a joke. Yeah.
Shandy, you don't know jokes.
You don't know jokes. Yeah.
Oh, both of you are back.
We are back.
Why is the name ECUM? Well, it's because we're inspired by a podcast called EFAP. We're like, well, what comes after the FAP? Come.
Yeah. That's the actual reason for the name, by the way. This is not a joke. Because some people will sometimes assume it is. That is not a joke. That's the actual reason for the name.
Like originally we had an acronym, but like it was kind of cringe. Now we're just like, we'll just call it ECUM.
Yeah.
It's easier to.
It's not an acronym. It was just the name. It used to be an acronym. It meant, like Tim said, something silly. So.
Also, where do you guys normally watch Flash episodes? We've watched them all. They're just being edited and
we watched them all as they came out. I just need to finish editing them. I currently want to post them every other week. So posted one last week. This week's not going to be one, and then next week probably. Just so it gives me more time to edit them, so I don't have to force myself to edit one every week, because it's a lot of work to edit an hour-long video every week. But also so it gives me time to work on videos for my own channel, because, for example, I have a video that I've written for a long time, but that I've not managed to record and edit yet. So, yeah.
We also do have a recording for the Flash film, and we're not watching every season of Flash Film 1. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
No way. We will do another project in the future. We won't say what it is.
Yeah,
but
we'll
there is
do
another
other projects. We're not done with Advocate. He can't escape us showing him bad stuff. It's gonna be eternal.
One day.
Yeah. I showed you RRR. I have enough goodwill from that to show you everything else, because that was a masterpiece. Anyway.
So,
video.
oh shit.
Sorry.
Is there? Oh, never mind.
Were you gonna say something?
Okay. I thought there was gonna be a new link, but
no, yeah, it's
still in the same watch together.
Yeah.
Cool.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and The Flash is widely considered to be a financial flop, making only $55 million domestically in its opening weekend, $66 million including Monday, and well below the $85 million the studio was projecting it to make. It's a shame because I think many elements in this movie really work, and it does not deserve to flop like this. In fact, I think it should have been DC's Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man.
It's weird to call it Flash when it's supposed to be an Avengers Endgame type thing.
No. Endgame had like 10 years worth of build-up with like a huge interconnected universe. Flash was a DCU film that just happened to come out years after Man of Steel. That's the closest.
And No Way Home is building on the foundations of the previous iterations of Spider-Man.
Yeah, No Way Home at least has the Spider-Man name. Flash is way less interesting and sellable than the name of the Spider-Man name.
And I do like the idea of a multiverse Flash film where we're interacting with different Flashes, but clearly this film didn't give a shit. So we didn't get John Wesley Shipp or Grant Gustin.
Yeah, if we were to do this film, do it with Grant Gustin and John Wesley Shipp, and do it kind of like No Way Home.
Someone suggested like if you still have to do this film, then basically just have in place of Michael Keaton, have that be John Wesley Shipp and have Barry 2 be Grant Gustin.
Yeah,
like
just makes a lot more sense.
Actually, have the Flash film be about the Flash.
The Flashes.
Who's the richest? Do you mean out of us? Because if so, it's me or Madvika.
No, I assume Jeb.
Probably Jeb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madvika lives in America. He needs to pay to be able to like fix a boo-boo on his knee.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to read Shandy's farewell comments before I go. I finished Euphoria last night along with both of the specials, about 10 hours straight of peak TV viewing. Enjoyed it a lot. You're only saying that because Sydney Sweeney is in it. Fucking horny.
Yes, but it's also really good. Also, her in season 2, she's fucking amazing. I think she won an award for it. She deserved it too. Anyway, I watched the Willow TV show, Mr. Willow in chat. I actually liked it. I thought it was fun. Didn't think it was good. I thought it was like mediocre, but it was fun. Plus, what's her name? The main actress. She's the most attractive woman ever. Hold on, give me a sec. It's Ruby Cruz. Ruby Cruz. Dear Lord, that woman.
I recognize that name.
I've mentioned her many times. Ruby Cruz and Erin Kellyman. And to be fair, Ellie Bamber as well, who played Laura. All three of them. Dear Lord. Anyway, yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Many at Warner Brothers probably thought it was gonna be at some point. So I'm gonna break down what happened here. Did this movie ever have a chance? And what timeline of decisions led to this underwhelming arrival? Hey, subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars.
No.
Making a Flash movie.
Give me a reason to first.
I think Flash movie. Making Flash movies hard because the main story was taken by the CW. I don't think that's fair. You can just still adapt the same story and do it differently. And
yeah,
they still did this. They still did the same story as CW. They did Savitar, like they just did season 3.
I mean, if we look at Into the Spider-Verse, it's taken a lot of established tropes, not only from the comics but from existing Spider-Man adaptations, and it does it in a way that's very refreshing and inventive. So,
yeah.
Network, this channel for Easter egg breakdowns and your burning questions, the break room for our instant reactions to our after shows, including Inside Marvel, the Secret Invasion after show, and the deep dive for special film analyses from me. Okay, Variety reported that The Flash's underperformance spells even bigger trouble for Warner Brothers as a whole, that production budgets plus marketing for Shazam Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will total between $1.1 billion and $1.2 billion. They quote an industry veteran who said The Flash should be opening at $120 million domestic, and they called it an unmitigated disaster. That Variety article includes a nifty infographic comparing the profits of every DC movie.
This is actually an interesting graphic.
Just look at Joker there.
Yeah. Well, Joker was like insanely profitable, not something you would expect. Domestic post debut gross. What's the red opening weekend?
Wait, damn, Aquaman actually did good?
Yeah, Aquaman did really well. Wasn't like almost
is it because Pitbull's cover of Africa was in it?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
That is only why.
Since Man of Steel. Now, while it is still early, you can see how important the domestic opening box office is in the overall total, and for the Flash to...
Not really. The Joker. I mean, nah, it makes sense what he's saying. Because he's not saying it's not the most important thing, but it is very important, and it's true. It's just for Joker, the opening weekend domestically wasn't like huge, but the films continue grossing for ages. I think it's the same thing for Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, typically if you have a big domestic weekend, you tend to get bigger numbers because your decrease should go slower. Whereas some films like Top Gun, like Joker, even the Mario movie, they just kept fucking going. They wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Make less than Black Adam in October is not a good sign. The Flash, of course, struggled with a problematic lead actor in Ezra Miller, with messy legal troubles from the past few years. The studio's response was to market the film more as a Batman movie, heavily featuring Michael Keaton's Batman in the high-profile trailer shown during the Super Bowl in February, and other costly TV spots aired during the NBA Finals. In January, incoming head of DC Films James Gunn called The Flash, quote, one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen.
I really don't think quoting James Gunn is really something that I just think it's silly.
Yeah.
Like, of all the people, get the other people. Get Stephen King, get Edgar Wright, get, everyone else.
Yeah, everybody who wasn't involved in the movie.
It's just that regardless of what his actual thoughts are, he's obviously going to have like a bit of a bias since, he's going to be taking the job.
Yeah.
Kakashi, did you find the evidence about James Gunn? I'm just curious, because you're back now.
Yeah.
Mario was a great movie amidst so much woke trash. Sure.
Who said that? Sorry.
No.
Banana Boat, I'm just like, sure. I guess.
Wait, someone actually say that? Oh, yeah, Banana Boy. Mario's a great movie. I assume you're joking, because if you're not, that might actually be funnier if you're not joking and say that.
Wait. Someone made a pretty iffy comment about the Gwen trans thing. And
yeah, it's Kakashi. It's the guy who was talking about James Gunn. Yeah.
I just want to know about the James Gunn evidence. I'm really curious.
And Discovery CEO David Zaslav called it, quote, the best superhero movie. Warner began screening versions of this movie the week of CinemaCon in April, but what was shown in these early press screenings was not the finished cut, reportedly including no post-credit scene and cutting to credits before we saw the face of the final Batman cameo who steps out of the car. Now,
that's stupid. I'm glad they changed that. Yeah, that's actually a terrible thing to do.
That decision, that's what made it the best superhero movie of all time. As soon as George Clooney came in, though, it tanked. That's what we found.
Yes, George Clooney is the issue. He destroyed the film single-handedly. Everyone hates George Clooney, as we all know.
Yeah, I fucking despise the man. Too many coffee adverts in my time.
Now, this variety people in the discourse on social media have begun to point their fingers at various possible reasons. Superhero fatigue, multiverse fatigue, and bad VFX are often thrown around.
I agree with all three of those as reasons. I don't think any one of them is like the main reason, but I think all of them contribute to it. For also, also reason why Quantumania did so shit, whereas Guardians 3 did so well. Guardians 3 has amazing VFX, not about the multiverse in any capacity, and it doesn't really feel like a Marvel film, like a generic superhero film. So, yeah.
Nothing tops the MODOK VFX, though.
Oh yes, the MODOK ass. So glad we can still see MODOK ass.
You found the evidence about Nicole Perman, but you neglect the fact that fucking James Gunn rewrote the entire thing.
Yeah.
And as well, he also actually backed her choices, but he could have changed them if he wanted.
And bad VFX.
You continue.
Had a hand in tweaking character arcs, like rewriting the entire script. Yeah, that's a tweak.
Yeah.
Are often thrown around, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse both were incredibly successful films, the latter of which dives deeper into the multiverse than any other superhero movie has.
Yeah, that's true, to be fair. I guess it's just because it's such a different take, and because there's already the goodwill from the first film doing the multiverse in a way that is more unique.
I think it's the way, outside of like Spider-Verse, it's the way comic movies are using the multiverse, where it's just to explore the idea of just use it for cameos and all that sort of stuff, like that sort of way of using it. Like that's for
Yeah,
when
it's
people
like
talk about
Multiverse of
multiverse,
Madness did really well, but then it got like really terrible word of mouth because it was just like they realized that the film only used multiverse to like do cameos and like bullshit like that, whereas the trailer made it seem like they were going to use the multiverse to tell an interesting story. So, you know, there's a different perception. Whereas, like you're saying, Across the Spider-Verse uses the multiverse not just to, you know, do cameos and shit.
yeah, it's like the announcement for like Invincible season. It'll dive into the multiverse, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, it's just like they're writing them out." Yeah, from what I've heard, that was part of a comic like 20 years ago, and it uses it to tell a pretty interesting story. So like, it's all about the way you use it, and the way Marvel and DC are using it for them is kind of shit.
Kakashi, I can't take you seriously when you go, James Gunn didn't write the film because Rocket Raccoon was created in '87.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
think he assumes when you said that Rocket Raccoon is a self-insert that he created Rocket Raccoon, when that's not what Jeb said. He's a self-insert character for James Gunn. It doesn't mean he created it. He's obviously just adapting.
I'm still waiting for references. You're just saying things. I want references to this. But anyway, Across the Spider-Verse. I think as well what helps Across the Spider-Verse is it's sincere as well. And it deals with multiversal stakes, but at the heart of it, it has a very human and relatable what's the word? Backbone to it. It's not just, oh, we got to save the multiverse. No, you got to save your dad.
Yeah.
So,
And like it also doesn't use it to like a lot of it doesn't really use that many cameos per se. Like you're obviously gonna have a few recognizable ones, like the Insomniac. They're not really put at the forefront for like a second. Be like, oh, there they are. It's more like just, of course they're going to be there. It's that sort of thing.
It's like when people forget that Doctor Who's already done this stuff before, and has touched on it, and what it focused on again was the character aspect. It didn't focus on the whole, wow, we got a multiverse here.
Yeah. I'm just looking up the production of Guardians 1 out of curiosity.
Yeah, I literally read it out.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Zod's going to say something.
No, just sort of the main real sort of difference between, like, you know, sort of cameos in Spider-Verse and Flash. It's like Spider-Verse has like a lot of like faces that you, especially if you know Spider-Man, you're going to recognize them. And the difference is just like a lot of that sort of stuff is put mainly sort of in the background so that it sort of encourages. But it's not the sort of thing you're not going to recognize unless you're one of those fans who knows that thing. So like, you know, it's all, you know, it more encourages you to actually like pay attention to like the background, because you notice more of these sorts of details. It's like, yeah, it makes sense that they'd be here because that's the way this sort of society works. And then you've got the Flash, and then it's just like, what? There's no actual reason for any of these particular cameos to be here. They're just easily interchangeable with literally any other superhero in the planet, and they're just thrown at the front of the screen, even dead people, just for the sake of having something to recognize. There's no like real rewarding aspect to it in the same way there is with Spider-Verse.
I think as well, we know it happened either for No Way Home. A lot of the cameos they've been doing is like, the character appears, there's a brief pause so the audience can clap, and then it continues, which entirely breaks the tone and pacing of what you're watching.
Yeah.
It becomes so overt that you're kind of taken aback from it rather than enjoying the story for what it is.
Oh yeah, that's why it hurts Flash as well, because it's the final act of the film. Everything's falling, like the multiverse is falling apart, and yet we're still taking like seconds away from this what's supposed to be a rather sort of tense like ending to stop and clap at the famous people. It's like,
like he just zooms in on like fucking Christopher Reeves world, and he just stands there for a good like 5-ish, 10-ish seconds, and then you just sort of pans around, goes to another world, does the same, and the same, and it's like, really, what is the point besides, a bit for the audience to clap?
So apparently,
Okay.
Kushiken has posted a source.
Where?
It's the Inverse article, so I'm just having a look now.
Oh, they wouldn't exist without Nicole Perman in the sense that she was offered to write a bunch of different projects for Marvel. Like, she could choose a bunch of the lesser known Marvel characters to write about, and she chose Guardians of the Galaxy. But if you want to talk, this is Gunn's film, like the first Guardians film. So let me read it. Perlman spent 2 years writing a draft, immersing herself in the Guardians universe, and was asked in late 2011 to create another draft before Gunn was brought in early 2012 to contribute to the script. Gunn eventually rewrote the entire script because it didn't work for him. He would use the film Dirty Dozen as a reference to convey his ideas of the film to Marvel. Gunn was later explained that Perlman's draft was very different from the script he used during filming, including a different story, character arcs, and no Walkman. He stated, in Nicole's script, everything is pretty different. It's not about the same stuff, but that's how the WGA works. The 2012 screenplay also had Jason as an emperor and Peter Quill, Star-Lord's father, like in the comic books. When Marvel asked Joss Whedon to revise the script ahead of Age of Ultron, Whedon particularly detested this review and suggested Marvel to not make Peter part of royalty. Whedon suggested Gunn to make the story weirder, and after reading the earlier draft. Throughout the writing process, there was no debate on whether to keep Rocket as a member of the Guardians or even featuring the character at all in the film due to concerns that he could come off as too cartoonish, hence why a few drafts excluded the character. But Perlman felt that the character's inclusion was necessary and was happy that Feige let her keep in the script due to him being a great Rocket fan. In August 2012, Marvel Studios hired writer Chris McCoy to rewrite Perlman's script, but was not credited in the final film. So yeah, that's it.
I've read the article as well. Kakashi, you have the reading capabilities of a child.
What does it say?
Well, it focuses entirely on Perlman's perspective of just writing the drafts, and there are elements that Gunn absolutely took inspiration from, for example, the opening. But, like, that's all it touches upon, the drafts. It doesn't touch upon post-draft, which is where Gunn came in. And she even says in here, for example, the mixtape thing is all Gunn's doing.
Right.
This is just saying the story for the drafts. It's not tackling anything beyond that. So your source is only taking events from, I think it was 2010 to 2012. So and also you're accusing James Gunn of lying. This doesn't prove he's lying.
Yeah.
And also, you're going to claim he's lying on a public platform. I read the whole article. I've literally read the whole article.
Yeah, like her role was, she was enrolled in Marvel's screenwriting program in 2009. She was offered several of their lesser-known properties to base a screenplay on. Out of those, she chose Guardians of the Galaxy due to her interest in space and science fiction. But then James Gunn was hired to direct it, and then he changed a lot of it and rewrote the entire script. So, like, it's still his film. The idea of that film existing wouldn't have existed without her, because she chose that project to work on, but it's not hers, and it's definitely a James Gunn film.
Yeah, like there's even like a really egregious DC example, because famously, like the Batman, for instance, was going to be a Ben Affleck script. It went through multiple drafts and all that, but by the end of it, it was still Matt Reeves' film. Like, it came into existence because of Ben Affleck, but by the time it came out, it was still very much Matt Reeves' film. Like, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, similar thing here.
Kakashi, this is a different article that actually tackles during the situation after the drafts. After leaving Guardians for a spell, due to the writers' program was exclusive content during which writers weren't allowed to work on outside projects, she was brought back in 2011 to do a 6-month stint as a freelance writer before the project had a director. But Perlman says she was always under the understanding that a script would be rewritten. She went, I always knew they were going to bring in a writer-director. That was always sort of the plan. I'm not primarily a comedy writer, but it needed to be a comedic project. Like, this is a project that has always been irreverent. It's always been tongue-in-cheek, and so that was always the question. And that is when they brought in James Gunn, who reworked the entire script. He He said she definitely got the ball rolling. He said the original concept of that, and that was sort of like what's in the movie, and then there's the story of characters. Those were pretty much recreated by me. In Nicole's script, everything is pretty different. The story is different. There's no Walkman. The character arc's different. It's not about the same stuff, but that's how the WGA works. They like first writers an awful lot. And then this is what Feige said. Much of it had been, at least the bones of it had been in the Nicole Perlman's draft, and some of the additional material that we had after that we talked with him about. The character lineup was essentially the same, and the overall structure was the same. I can't remember now exactly what it was. Walkman was James. All the story, the dialogue that you see now in the actual movies is James. I think in the and he also noted that Yondu was all Gunn's doing. All that Perlman did.
It's him lying apart from the Walkman. Okay, okay. If you're not gonna take it seriously, then I don't care.
The thing that Perlman did, and to her credit, exactly right, is the characters that she wanted in them. And
yeah, and she wanted Rocket really to be in them, which is a fantastic idea because James Gunn really loved Rocket as well as a character, and he inserted himself into it. Anyway, whatever. You're not taking it seriously. I'm just saying that they're lying. So okay, everyone's lying to keep the idea that James Gunn was actually not the hand behind Guardians. Okay, like whatever.
I'm gonna level with you. It's because you don't like James Gunn.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
I can tell you don't like James Gunn. That's fair. But like, fuck me. Come on.
Yeah. Whatever. Let's get back to the video.
Multiverse than any other superhero movie has. Black Panther's third act was some of the most unfinished VFX I've ever seen in a movie, but people still love that movie.
For entirely different reasons. I think you're just ignoring... Yeah, it's ignoring why these films did so well. Because it's like... Black Panther did well besides the bad CGI, you know? Like, Across the Spider-Verse did well besides being... despite being a multiverse film, because of the way it tackled the multiverse, because of the goodwill it already had, there is larger context. But all three reasons that were cited for the Flash film doing poorly in that article still make sense. So like,
yeah,
so bad VFX.
Like what makes Black Panther so profitable is the fact that it became quite a cultural icon towards Black communities.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, they hadn't really had a film quite like Black Panther that. In the superhero medium that really catered to their culture. The closest you got was Blade.
Yeah.
But even then,
that was 20 years prior.
Yeah. Black Panther tackles a lot of themes as such that it's relatable, despite not being a very good film.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't reason alone that a movie underperforms, and I also disagree that this.
Yeah, but firstly, okay, sorry, I'm gonna rewind just to get what he said.
That movie. So bad VFX isn't reason alone that a movie underperforms.
Yeah, but there were three reasons that were cited, and they're all working together. It's like there's a mix of things that make the Flash not work. You cited all three that the article cites, and I think all three are correct. I don't think they're the sole reasons, those three. But even then, those three working together are very much going to make it so that films underperform. And Quantumania is a good comparison to the Flash, where it is a multiverse story in a way. It is very much a generic superhero film, so superhero fatigue applies. And it doesn't have the goodwill built up from like previous films, unlike Guardians or Across the Spider-Verse. And it had terrible VFX, much like Flash. Both films underperformed. Plus, the DC has a way worse track record than Marvel has. So, in terms of like public perception. So, people really did not care much for a DCU Flash film, with Ezra Miller especially, who's never really been very liked from, 2017 Justice League and everything.
And the focus on Keaton Batman. Keaton isn't really the Batman people think of. It's if it was Bale Batman, that'd be a different story.
Yeah, it's like Keaton is like the Batman that like a lot of this generation's parents grew up with, like mine grew up with Adam West and that, but like a lot of people's the older generation grew up with Keaton and all that. So like it like the generation, like this sort of generation, like their Batman was probably most likely Bale.
Yeah,
that would be like the Tobey Maguire of like the general Batman sort of verse, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
but you can't use him because he has some level of integrity and doesn't want to come back unless Christopher Nolan wants to come back, and Christopher Nolan doesn't want to come.
Yeah. Plus, he's an actor doing a bunch of other things. I don't think
Yeah.
Keaton's doing much recently. I also agree that the Flash suit looks a lot like Power Rangers. It looks, yeah.
And I also disagree that this movie's writing or direction are to blame. Like, sure, you can take issue with Andy Muschietti's camera work and his pacing, or Christina Hudson's dialogue and story structure, but compared to Black Adam,
Black Adam also underperformed. What are you talking about? Didn't Black Adam also flop?
Yeah.
It did, yeah.
So what? Oh, it's at least better than Black Adam. So
Right.
another film that underperformed. Like, what kind of point is that? The dialogue was shit. Like, you're just saying it's better than this other shit thing. How is that even?
This is DC. It's entirely possible for two of them to be characters.
Yeah. Tin, your audio keeps cutting out. I assume it's your noise gate.
Yeah, it does.
So you should change that in the settings because it doesn't seem to be an internet thing.
Oh, right, yeah. Right, yeah.
Also, what helps Black Adam? You've got The Rock, who is an established and popular actor, and there was the Henry Cavill thing.
Yeah, and Ezra Miller is not nearly. They're not liked at all. But beyond that, Black Adam flopped as well, so this is just a silly point.
We don't know if it's better, by the way, Willow. We've never seen it. I never want to.
Have any of us seen it?
I've seen Black Adam.
Is it better than The Flash?
Well,
Got it, innit?
it's like it's like comparing apples and oranges, except they're
Apples
both
and
rotten.
oranges. Sorry, that was funny. Sorry, go on.
It's like comparing apples and oranges. Or why can't I say it? Apples and oranges.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. But they're both rotten in this case. Like, they're both different levels of bad. But like, Black Adam is definitely better. Like, that film is painfully meh, whereas The Flash is just painful.
Right.
So Flash is worse then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very roundabout way of saying that, but I get it. I get your point.
compared to Iron Man, I don't know. I think if you recast the lead and swap out some cameos in this movie, this is a great coming of age story about destiny and sacrifice with some great action, some pretty funny gags. But before we start yelling at me, look.
A funny gag is him Barry kicking a trash can in the background. That was fucking great, man.
Movies frequently have mismatched audience scores versus critics' averages. Movie quality is just a matter of opinion ultimately, and there are just more structural issues with The Flash that we can point to. So let's list 5 other reasons why The Flash underperformed. 1, the Ezra of it all. 2, the betrayal of the Zack Snyder fandom.
It is canon to the Snyder Cut, so
betrayal.
How is that a betrayal?
What was a betrayal about it?
I mean,
because
other
there was
than
no cyborg, he's still mad about that.
Yeah, I assume that's what it's gonna say. Either that or just the fact that maybe it's like the Snyder fans like boycotting everything DC because of Warner fucking them over. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
that effective boycott that comes around every time.
Yeah, the boycott that has worked always.
3, the James Gunn DC reset. 4, the publicity campaign. And 5, fan service misalignment.
Fair, showing Grant Gustin. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already made that point when we mentioned the multiverse, right?
So starting with the first of those, Ezra. Now look, audiences have supported some actors going through legal issues before, like when Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Iron Man.
But that's an entirely different situation.
Robert Downey Jr. wasn't really supported at the time. I just want to make that clear.
Everyone hated him. The support came after the film came out and he actually, got his life together. Like, that's not the same situation.
They all said it was a giant risk.
Yeah. It just paid off. And Robert Downey Jr. put everything about his terrible past behind him.
Honestly, it's probably the biggest risk. It's biggest risk and payoff in cinema history when you consider what the MCU became.
Just everything about the Iron Man film in general, the first Iron Man film, is like a huge risk on every regard, and it paid off. Through a lot of luck. Can't even say it's about like talent from Jon Favreau, because that film was like super improvised in a lot of places. They just didn't have a script when shooting for a lot of it. They had like this huge budget, but didn't really know how to make it. But that was a lot of passion involved, so who knows.
He had some complicated run-ins with the law, but really the issue with Ezra Miller, Warner chose to sideline the actor from doing any publicity for this film. And that, plus all the late night shows being off the air.
I think, I just want to, I think I have a theory about this. He has not once yet used the pronoun to refer to Ezra. I think he's avoiding it because if he says they, then there's going to be comments from like conservative fans. And they don't want to alienate that audience, but they also don't want to be disrespectful to the other side of the audience.
To be fair,
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
In his Spider-Verse video, he does acknowledge the flag that Gwen has, and he does say, if you hate that, then go away. So
okay. Then I might be wrong.
He is pro-trans, but it is a little using they pronouns for Ezra.
Yeah, it's just weird that he hasn't used any pronouns yet. He just keeps sidelining it. Like you said, the actor instead of just saying they.
I think he just finds it easier in case of any accidental slip-ups, to be honest.
I mean, it's a... He can edit, he can redo the line if he messes it up.
I'd assume he scripted this beforehand.
Yeah, but they make like 50 videos a day. So.
Sure, yeah. That's a fair point.
Due to the writer's strike, Warner did not have a lead to go out there and sell the film. And before you say that that's not that important, look at Black Adam by comparison. That movie totally benefited from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson frequently promising that the hierarchy of
benefit. That film did not do well. I don't know what the idea that it did well got into Eric's head, honestly.
Like, did he miss all the jokes saying, like how he spends like decades planning this film only to bomb?
Yeah.
Like the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change, and it's still bombed.
Yeah.
Like everyone was taking the piss out of it.
Yeah, it did less than 400 million, it's 393 million. That's worse than Quantumania. It's worse than Quantumania, geez. So yeah, I'm sorry. That film did not do it well. I don't know where he got that idea from.
Hour in the universe is about to change. This guy personally lobbied to get Henry Cavill in the movie and told everyone that there was going to be a Superman showdown before the movie even came out. But that ties in with reason number 2, the betrayal of the Zack Snyder fandom.
Whoa.
The release of Snyder Cut, now restore the Snyderverse movement is real, folks. And it's not all just bull.
So they betrayed the Snyder fans by releasing the Snyder Cut because that means that they revived the Snyderverse, the restore the Snyderverse movement. So they just kind of fucked themselves over, I guess, by appeasing the Snyder fans.
I kind of get it. Like it was a kind of a lose-lose situation because like it means they appease them, they listen to them. And Snyder fans listen. It means we can ask for more.
Yeah. Also, Tin, you're still cutting out a bit less than before, but you still are.
Bullies on. Really, a lot of the Snyder fans are just regular films that don't, in their eyes, aggressively erase or retcon the continuity of the Snyder era. Like, you don't see an angry reaction to movies like Matt Reeves' The Batman because it's clearly in a separate universe. But movies like The Flash are supposed to be in the DCEU. We begin the movie partnering Barry with Ben Affleck. And then we learn that they did shoot scenes with Henry Cavill, but they removed them from the movie. And by doing things like that, you just guarantee that the most organized online fan movement right now are going to boycott your movie open.
Yeah, but that's like... It's...
Try being a Sonic fan.
Always comes back to Sonic, doesn't it, Jeff? It's just weird to cite that as if like the Snyder movement can boycott successfully a film when they're like such a minority and like the huge majority of normies just hate the Snyder film.
Yeah, you're really overestimating how much influence Snyder fans actually have.
Yeah, it's like thinking Twitter, like it's just people thinking Twitter is like a reflection of the real world when it's really not.
Like Twitter is not real life. It's not Snyder fans barking outside Warner Brothers saying release with Snyder.
Dark Thor is losing his mind right now. Now that you've said Twitter is not real life.
He is also a Snyder fan, isn't he, or something?
Yeah. He's a big Snyder, restore the Snyderverse advocate.
Yeah, him and Twitter Barry. That's why they get along so well. When they got along in that thread just by shitting on Sheev, that was one of the greatest crossovers on the internet.
Week, angriest of them doing everything.
Sorry, let me rewind because it skipped ahead. Watch together is cringe.
Movement right now are going to boycott your movie opening weekend, with the angriest of them doing everything they can to toxicify the word of mouth online. And that's just an unforced error that you do not need. Now, you've heard me talk about...
Oh my god, fuck off.
Oh,
No.
oh fuck.
Hold on. I'm skipping the ads.
I don't want to skip the ads.
I do, Jeb, I'm
I want to
afraid.
learn more about the products that he really plays.
Is this Raid? I think it might be.
Or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses, like an Epic Champion.
Yeah, I think it is
Raid.
Raid.
All the
I
treasures
think
that
it's
you get
Raid.
in game will be located
Or just a raid
right
clone.
up here.
Yeah.
And come join me.
To be
in
fair, Raid is not in any way original. It's just a shitty mobile.
Alright, a
Just
clone
world
of whatever
Rage
raid is a clone of.
Legends. Reason number 3, James Gunn's DC reset. So in January, James Gunn announced his new plan for the DC universe, and you know, I'm pretty optimistic about the Gods and Monsters slate. However,
Me
to
too.
announce that plan in January, before the 4 scheduled DC movies that were released in 2023,
I
just
think it's weird to announce it after the last films that are already made come out, because it kind of seemed like you didn't have a plan until it ended. If you have a plan already before it ends, it's kind of showing like, oh, look, we are preparing. We have time to do all this. Plus, it's not like it's going to be that far away, right? The Superman Legacy film is going to be in 2025, so 2026, 5, whatever. So
Plus, another thing to take into consideration is that, from what he said, he is willing to keep some of the DCEU stuff, but it just depends on how well they do.
So none of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kakashi, I'm gonna ban you, okay?
What did Kakashi do?
I just want to point out, if you want to demand people use they, them term, I demand you refer to me as sexiest man alive.
Oh, okay, then yeah,
So yeah,
ban that.
if you want to be transphobic, goodbye.
That was a weird.
Yeah. Let's just, whatever.
signaled to a lot of viewers that these 4 movies did not matter to the future franchise continuity. And again, while some superhero movies can stand alone, like Matt Reeves' The Batman or Joker, these 2023 films were initially pitched and conceived to be part of the DCEU continuity.
To be fair, he might be the sexiest man alive. We don't know. That's true, to be fair. He just wants to be respected.
Depend on that interconnectivity. And had Warner just held off on Gunn's announcement until January 2024, who knows? Fans might have been a bit more invested in each.
Yeah, and I think they would be less invested in his universe. So
it doesn't make any difference to the Flash either way, because before we got the whole slate, we already knew that
it was going to be renewed. Yeah, that's actually true. So I guess they needed to have announced James Gunn was the CEO after the films already come out. So early 2024, just held that off for like a few years. I think
that's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Each of these 2020
and like we could start filming like a Superman film before all that build, because like it makes perfect sense to build hype for this new universe with the new Batman and Superman films coming out, very much in the beginning. It makes way more sense to do that than to like work it around films that are already made, because especially Flash, which has been held off for so many years.
Yeah, I just think James Gunn taking over and rebooting everything. All these other films that getting damaged by that is just a reality that was going to happen.
We mentioned this for like Shazam, but like when that came out, it was like a very much a sense of like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a lot of videos talking about that. Like, what's the point of this film even coming out?
Yeah, I think that's just the way audiences have been sort of conditioned with these sorts of superhero projects now. It's not like I wouldn't agree with it, but it's just like, do you end up going into these films thinking, well, if they're not going to continue into a franchise, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Which, again, that's just the way they've been conditioned to believe now. I don't agree with it, but it's just what happens.
Yeah, a lot of people said that about the Phase 4 of the MCU, as if like that was the issue with those films. And then by doing that, they kind of completely ignore why Eternals, for one, is a good film. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird to pin the blame on like James Gunn announcing all this stuff as if it's his fault, when it's just an unfortunate reality of the situation.
It's also worth noting that it's the fact as well, for example, The Flash is his first outing, whereas take Guardians 3, we know that's going to be probably the final time for some of those characters, or at least together. it makes people want to watch to see how that concludes, even though we know Gunn's leaving.
Yeah.
So it's also the fact that they've taken so long just to even start anything or even start a universe.
Yeah. It's because DC, they had the opportunity with the 2013 film. It was pretty early on in the Marvel stuff. They could have competed. Then 3 years until the next film, when it's just a Batman v Superman. You're not establishing Batman. It's like the way the universe has been built with the DCU is just skipping so many steps of what would have made it interesting and trying to like catch up with Marvel like so clearly. So by that point, it's like people aren't invested anymore. If it was, that's the difference of what you said about like Guardians 3, where like people aren't going to be invested in like film like a Shazam 2 because of that.
Yeah, it's like the thing is, at least with like the original Snyderverse plan, it wasn't intended to be a cinematic universe. It was meant to be like a short little 5-film saga thing, but like they wanted to compete with Marvel, so they basically turned it into a cinematic universe, but it doesn't work because so much shit just doesn't work as a cinematic universe with half the stuff happening off screen. So like they shot themselves in the foot the moment they tried to make it into a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like that's why audiences just don't care. It's just like there's so much information in each of all these films that just don't line up. There's no like coherent, like consistent, like timeline for this universe. It just doesn't feel interconnected at all, and so it's just no real reason for people to feel like entirely invested in it. It's just like the Flash is just like, oh yeah, something else is just not gonna slot in any real way. It's just like.
Well, that's one thing that the Phase 1 of Marvel did really well, was making the films feel like they're part of the same universe. Regardless of like how good those films were, I think, some of them are good, some of them aren't. But they all felt like they were part of the same universe, You have Coulson and Hawkeye and Thor, and then they come back in Avengers, and you have Natasha in Iron Man 2, and obviously Nick Fury and Coulson. So like
like
a lot of
they were building to something. Even if it was just the team film, they were building to something. Like you could see where it was going. Whereas if DC, they've just been going nowhere.
Exactly. No, we do not think the film is better. Well, no, I don't think it's better than the show. No, it's shit. It's hard to compare an entire TV show to a film. So I don't know what I would say, because obviously The Flash has like some episodes that I like. I don't like the Flash film at all, other than the microwave baby. That moment was priceless though. So.
3 titles, but in January, they kind of set them up to seem irrelevant. Issue 4, the publicity campaign. So yeah, the studio screened unfinished versions of this movie that exclude.
I think they don't get how screenings work. Screenings usually are unfinished versions of the movie.
Yeah.
Included the final twist to press into early audiences, perhaps to avoid spoilers from leaking, but you should not make a movie that depends on that with its final shot. This resulted in some early reactions spreading the word about one version of a movie, and then normal audiences seeing it release week, seeing something completely different, ending with an entire.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're just completely not understanding how screenings work. Screenings usually don't even include scenes. There are moments where it's like just text on screen describing a scene because the scene hasn't finished yet or something like that. Like that's how screenings work.
Yeah.
Entirely different taste in your mouth and one less tooth. All these over positive tweets and statements just raise expectations to a place where some more cynical viewers start rolling their eyes. The Variety article quoted another executive who said, when they called it the greatest superhero movie, if it's not correct, you're setting yourself up to fail. In this environment, it's better to underpromise and overdeliver.
I don't know. I think it's better to say that your film is the greatest movie ever made than to say it's good. It's pretty good. It's all right. It's decent. It's not bad. It's like that thing kind of sets you up for like, oh, it's not that good then,
I doubt James Gunn is like gonna promote the film and say like,
it's all right. It's fine. It's 6 out of 10. Yeah.
I think there's a certain balance to it. You obviously don't go hyperbole to the point where you're going, we're the greatest. Like,
yeah, I think it's weird that they picked this film to be like, oh, it's the greatest, because it's like, it is so underwhelming. Because if you say it's the greatest, you're kind of expecting like a very big, like emotional payoff to like this huge thing. So it makes sense that people would call Endgame the greatest, but it doesn't make sense to call like Shang-Chi the greatest.
Yeah, like you tailor it to your film. So for example, Guardians 3, a lot of its publicity was focused on how heartfelt it is and emotional it was.
Yeah,
because
because
that's
it's
what
the
audience
end and
are
everything.
expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cinematic clickbait. It'll do better if you hype it, but you have to live up to the hype. I guess, yeah. There's a balance to it. Marketing is weird, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know enough about marketing to have an actual opinion on this. I think it makes sense.
You
that if
don't know
overhype-
marketing.
Indeed, I don't know marketing.
Bringing us to what I think is the most important issue here: fan service misalignment. Yes, this movie did its own thing with the Flashpoint storyline. Like, there's no Thomas Wayne Batman, there's no Reverse Flash, there's no Atlantean Amazonian War. But you know, superhero movies always do that. And I think opening weekend audiences are just used to it. Like Captain America Civil War, the movie did not really follow the Civil War comic event. But the issue here is, if you've been a fan of the...
Though it is better than the comic, which should tell you about how bad the comic storyline is. I've read it all, it's bad.
Pretty infamously, both Civil War and even Flashpoint are kind of not that great.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
What's the best superhero film?
So
That
there's a
might come
list
to
of
perfect.
films that I would put up there. I don't know if I would pick one.
Like, I think like top 3 for me personally would probably just be like the Batman Into and Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I would say Guardians 3, Guardians 2, Across the Spider-Verse. Probably my top 3. But the Batman is close as well, so it might be included.
Into Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, Into the Spider-Verse as well. Yeah. I forgot that there are 2 amazing Spider-Verse films. Jeez.
And probably Guardians 3 as my top 3.
Yeah.
Joker's close, and so is the Batman.
I don't count Joker. Is that was the question superhero film or comic book?
I think comic book film is probably more.
Yeah, because if
useful.
it says comic book film, I would put Joker there, but not as a superhero film. So there's a difference. Anyway.
The issue here is, if you've been a fan of The Flash in the past decade, chances are you've been watching at least some of the CW series starring Grant Gustin. Ezra Miller's Barry Allen even crossed
I've
over
watched
to
it
the
all.
series.
Yeah, fucking Crisis did better than the film. It's insane. And the CW does it better than you.
I watched All Night Caesar.
I don't think you're gonna get hate for that. Anime, Marvel, DC edits. Because I think John Wesley, we even said it earlier, but John Wesley Shipping and Grant Gustin are actual like Flashes, so it makes way more sense to have them than Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it's like
it's what you'd
the
expect
whole
from a
thing-
Flash film. It's like in No Way Home, you wouldn't have expected to see like a different like Doctor Strange or something. You expect to see different Spider-Man.
Like,
I did.
In like a sort of ideal world, like a movie Flash would be Wally, but Grant would be Barry, and then you'd have Jay Shaw played by John Wesley Shipp. Like that'd be how you do like No Way Home, but with the Flash, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
This on Infinite Earths event in 2020 for a Flashpoint movie that opens the doors to the multiverse to seemingly infinite DC cameos, even Nicolas Cage Superman, and not include Grant Gustin on that call sheet, and then only show a version of Teddy Sears' face that he claims he didn't even shoot, just shows that producers might not have had the core fan base in mind with these cameos.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just like you have to be so out of touch to not know that if you're making a DC. A Flash film with a bunch of cameos, you're not going to include the 2 famous Flash cameos, which are Grant Gustin and John Wesley Shipp. Like, what?
Yeah. It's like when your Flash film has more Superman cameos than it does Flash cameos.
Yeah.
Then you don't.
They were just curious why I was banned. I use no offensive language. I never insulted anyone. I was fairly civil. I simply asked if people can demand to be called they them, then I should have an equal right. That's not a demand. Like, if your pronouns are he, him, if you identify as a man, you're not demanding to be called a man. You're simply a man, and I shall refer to you as so because I have enough respect to know that gender identity, that everyone's gender identity should be respected. Should have an equal right to being called the toaster. Yeah, but that's not a gender identity. I don't think you understand what gender identity is.
Are we getting
Unless
into
you
the
believe
whole
your rights are
attitude?
more important than mine, so that's what makes you more special than me. I don't believe it. What I believe is that you should respect it, and so that to say that being called a toaster is the same as identifying as non-binary, then yeah. If I don't use it, I'm being punished. If I don't, then it's a demand. It's not a demand. You're being bigoted by not respecting it. And we're not going to allow bigotry here. Especially because 3 out of the 4 hosts here are trans. Which you may not know.
You can ask Icy, you cannot be a cunt.
Yeah, you can just respect. You don't need to...
I don't understand here.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need to ask these things. Basic respect is not to be a cunt. I don't care what some people do. I don't care. Just don't be a cunt. That's all we ask.
And it's fine to demand something when you're demanding is for them to call you by the correct name. If I start calling you a cunt, you're gonna be mad because, whoa, you're not. Oh, you're being mean. Yeah, because I'm not respecting you.
Why? I don't know any of you. You don't know Hitler, but you refer to him as a man. So
yeah.
I don't can get the difference there. Did you shake Hitler's hand as he gassed the Jews? Is that what you did?
Do we have to earn your respect and earn our pronouns?
I'm gonna level with you. You don't know fucking Morgan Freeman, but you don't go he's white. I don't think knowing someone makes a difference here.
Yeah. It's fair point. Hitler's a biological man. Okay, and he identified as a man. What? So you're saying that you don't respect their gender identity then? That you only care about someone's biological sex. If you do, then man, good for you. That's bigotry. Well done.
John Boyega, I don't know you, but I don't think you're an actor.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know you.
Yeah, I don't respect you, so I'm not going to call you an actor.
But if you'd like me to refer to you as something else, I will. I'd like you to not be retarded. But I guess we got big wishes around here. Oh.
It also came so out of left field. Like, oh, if you're meant to be called they damn, I'm meant to be called the sexiest man alive. Like, what? Just use someone's pronouns. Stop being annoying, jeez.
If you are a person who has heard my respect...
Okay, then that's what I'm saying. You don't need to earn the respect to call someone by the correct pronouns. Like Jeb said, you call Hitler by his pronouns. He identified as a man. You still call him he, him. If I assume you don't respect Hitler, so why don't you call him by the wrong pronouns? Why do you call she, her? Because that's disrespectful to him, I would assume.
I don't respect Nelson Mandela. That whitey.
I also think it's very funny. Why does it look like new rock stars guys trying to kiss the camera? I was looking on the chat and then I just, after reading that, I looked at his face. That's an amazing...
you are the bad. Yes, you are the bad guy. You can keep.
You are the bad guy for not using correct pronoun. Anyway, I'm gonna ban you again. Goodbye.
I'm sorry. How does this logic work? It's because you're privileged. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, you have the privilege of being a cis person, so you don't ever actually have to face being misgendered.
Yeah, like I don't know, trans people are kind of being demonized, especially in this country. So I think we could do the nice thing and just go, you know what? Yeah, we'll go by your pronouns. Yeah. This is not an issue. It doesn't need to be an issue. It's your basic identity. I don't know. Not a big ask.
Yeah. Well, it's just like.
Fuck me.
Well, it's just like if you don't like respect like a gay person, you're not just gonna start calling them straight. It's like even though like to an extent, you could like come up with some like bullshit like argument about how humans are scientifically like designed to
be straight, to keep like the humanity going to procreate.
Yeah. So it's like you don't use that sort of logic there. So like why with gender? It doesn't make sense.
Yep.
That's just my brain.
Also, I agree with the sentiment that it's not respect, it's common decency. I do agree that's the difference. It's just hard to explain it in a way where it's like, it's not supposed to be about respect. It's supposed to be just about being correct. But anyway. What the hell? Is Madvocate playing
yeah,
guitar?
Oh, you heard that?
I
don't know what happened. I think one of the springs from my like mic arm like just clicked. I don't know why, but that's probably what you were hearing.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan.
Was it really loud?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Hitler. That's why I bring him up.
Yeah. This stream's getting demonetized, but alas.
When it comes to franchise movies, you have to play to your audience. Like if you're going to do a Spider-Verse movie, you gotta give them Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. In the 2023 Flash film, despite its many good qualities, just...
Yeah, it's like, as well, you're doing Supergirl. Why did Sasha Kaye? Like, I know they were trying to set up her as a new one. A new superhero for this universe, so I guess that makes more sense because you're setting up a new one. You're not just, but if you don't consider that, if you consider if it is just a standalone film, at this point, just have Melissa Benoist, because she's the Supergirl everyone knows, and that would be like an actual cameo that people are interested in instead of a new actor that they don't know. Poignant banjo.
failed to deliver the Flashpoint event that was in many fans' heads. Like Michael Keaton, Christopher Reeve, even George Clooney. They're all beloved, but the age range of people seeing this movie on opening weekend might consider Christian Bale to be the older era
Also a
Batman
good
of their
point, yeah.
generation, and they're more likely to see a CGI reanimation of Christopher Reeve as a bit of an insult to his memory. But again, all of
Yeah. Just get Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
Or fucking
Besides-
Superman and Lois. Who's he? What's his name?
Tyler Hecklin, I think he's called.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it.
It would make more sense to have Brandon Routh or him, but I don't get it.
This only really affects the highly engaged viewers who are really plugged into movie news and the drama, who either see a movie or don't in the opening weekend. It doesn't as much affect the lesser engaged viewers decide on a whim to go see a movie a few weekends later, and The Flash just looks like a fun option to take the kids to. Like, look at that chart again. Those later weeks are still a big part of the pie, and the story on The Flash is not yet fully written. But for the opening weekend, which studios count on to recoup big portions of their budgets, you gotta win over the nerds. And by making a Flash movie with a lead who cannot sell it, with an audience who doesn't recognize it as legitimate, that's how you get an opening weekend box office disappointment, despite what I still believe to be a good director and a good script. But
Yeah, but okay, sure. Sure, a good script, But beside that, you haven't really proven that the other aspects aren't actually a part of it. You've made points that I think are better points. So I assumed them poorly. But you started this being like, I don't think those three reasons are the reasons. These are the actual reasons. But I think they all worked in tandem. They all worked together to make this film fail.
I think it also neglects on a micro scale in relation to the competition that was at that time.
What do you
Flash
mean?
had the Flash had competition.
That was
up on
Guardians
its league.
3 and Across the Spider-Verse, right? They came out around the same time.
Yeah, so when you got already a multiversal film that's doing much better, and you've also got an emotional, heart-wrenching film doing much better,
Yeah.
you kind of just see either one or both rather than this.
Yeah, the thing is, like, even Transformers came out at the same time, and that's actually doing pretty well.
Hmm.
Like, that's actually got some pretty decent legs on it for its run.
Yeah, but and it's, I guess the only competition would be in the sense of like action film in terms of genre. But yeah. But yeah, like what you said, Jim, makes sense. Like if you're gonna choose a superhero film, you're gonna choose the one that isn't as fatigued. So Guardians 3 and Across the Spider-Verse, you're gonna choose them with multiverse film, you're gonna choose the one that already has the goodwill from the first film, which is Across the Spider-Verse. So yeah. It is hard to, I guess there's no good point for DC to release this film. I guess later on in the year, when there are the only Marvel film coming out this year is the Marvels, right? The only other one. So
Yes, I think that's the only one.
yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
like much better competition for them than something like Across the Spider-Verse and the other thingy.
Imagine the Flash went against fucking Sonic 2. Like, could you imagine?
That would be funny.
Fuck. Like,
It
Avatar
was
is-
actually supposed, right, to be released together, but then Flash was delayed for the 100th time.
Yeah, Avatar was meant to be released when Sonic 3 was, and then it was like, no, we ain't messing with that film.
Yeah.
We can't mess with Shadow the Hedgehog, you see.
let me know your this, and you can support us by grabbing some merch at nerdriot.shop.
Okay, so I guess we're done now.
And it's over.
Yeah. I feel like Reverse Flash is a little overused. It's because of the CW. They did overuse them, but you can still do a nice story with them. I would hope that they wouldn't. But that's kind of the issue with Flash, right? Because every time you do a Flash villain, it has to be a speedster. Unless you do, like DeVoe, but DeVoe was shit. So that's kind of the point. You need
or
to,
it's
to be
like-
a speedster for it to
Or
not
Captain
suck.
Cold
Or it's like you construct
with
the
his
story.
cold
Or
tune.
it's like you construct the story in a way where the villains actually stand some form of a chance. Like,
Yeah. But it is
Yeah,
obviously
like-
way harder than just doing
Yeah,
a
it's-
speedster. If you do a speedster, it's going to be the same thing as like all most
Ju-
seasons of the Flash. So
Just bully the Flash into getting anorexia, and then you've won.
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
and it's just like
I'll do it.
And it's just like doing Flashpoint as the first film again. Like everyone said it, but it's just the worst possible first movie you could do.
Yeah, that's an idea you do after you already have this Flash well established. But
Yeah, it's like what's like a good comparison? Like I said, well, I would say it's like doing The Dark Knight Returns as your first Batman film, but that's what this
that's what they
universe
did.
anyway.
Yeah. Oh man, we love DC. Wasn't one of the earlier drafts of the Flash script essentially a smaller scale buddy film with Barry and Cyborg? Yep.
Yep.
It was.
That
It's the
was-
same thing
that
as
was
fucking
really-
Quantumania, which was originally just a film that was never going into the quantum realm, with MODOK working for AIM, I think, or whatever. Like, he was the main villain. He didn't have any Kang. But then Peyton Reed was like, no, I want big spectacle film. I don't want to be the palate cleanser. And then he made a film that was entirely pointless, with the script that was garbage, so...
I just kind of realized because like I remember like the first sort of, I guess sort of reveal for the film what was like a buddy cop film where like it'd be Barry actually as a detective. Where like I just realized we barely even see Barry as a police sort of guy.
Oh
in
yeah, we
this
just see
film.
that one scene of him working there, and then he has to
Yeah.
leave,
Yeah,
so...
In both versions of Justice League, it's a big deal that he finally has a job. He's got his foot in the door. He's doing something new, and we barely see it.
DC is amazing. Superhero movies in general have the problem of adapting popular stories without thinking about how they fit into a timeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
That's
why
why
I
I'm
much
really-
prefer to adapt characters rather than stories. In the sense of, like, you get the characters, you create your own idea of where to take them, you know? Like, you don't need to adapt this specific comic story and try to fit into a timeline. Just have
It's
the
like,
characters and do whatever story you want. I think that's a much better idea.
It's like again, like the Batman. That sort of takes on several different stories at once, but like it does its own thing with the character.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I'm really loving Russell T Davies' return. In his original run, he did do some popular stories mainly during the Wilderness years, such as Human Nature and
Even Dalek was based on like a
Jubilee,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Jubilee.
Whereas for his 60th, he's going really obscure with the Fourth Doctor comic strip. I can't remember what it's called.
The Star Beast.
Is it Star Beast or Star? Yeah, Star Beast. Yeah, you're right. Where he's adapting that into a TV format, and it's like based on these previous adaptations. I can only imagine it's going to be a masterpiece of writing.
And he's also bringing in stuff like the Celestial Toymaker. So he's bringing in the more obscure classic shit for his new era.
The Meep. My beloved.
Beep. The Meep. Woo.
We love Mr. Meep.
I think it's being voiced by Miriam Margoyle, if that's how you pronounce her name.
Yeah, like,
Everyone talks about Dalek,
it's
the
not
same as Jubilee, but like the comparison surface level. But I think that's the point, right? That he adapted it, but he obviously changed it to make his own story. I don't think it's.
Yeah, like-
I think it is supposed
like
to be
the
surface level. That he
scenes
got the
are
surface
very,
idea.
very similar.
It was Robert Sherman that did it, by the way.
I recognize that name.
It was the same writer, right?
Yeah, same writer, Robert Sherman.
It's like if they did the Death of Superman as the second Superman movie after the origin. Hey, wait a minute.
And then Human Nature, Russell T Davies brought back Paul Canal for that, which is something else I do love as well. And I think it's weird that the comic book movies don't do it. They don't bring the actual comic writers at the time if they're available. I think that helps a lot because then you can understand the inner workings of how they came to write this and why they wrote it the way they did.
Well, you say that, but like for the Flash film, they had a treatment by Grant Morrison, who is like the godfather of the DC multiverse. He invented how it works, and they rejected it. They rejected the treatment by him.
Like Grant
That's
Morrison, yeah. Like, he's written some of my favorite comics, and you just... Ugh, I don't get it. But now James Gunn has hired some comic writers, right, to work on it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Tom Kingfinger, he's done like a bunch of like good Batman stories. So like,
And you
if
got
they-
Drew Goddard as well, who did Daredevil and like Lost and a lot of really great shows. So I'm pretty
Yeah, it's
excited.
like bringing people that are passionate and care about the product and are very good writers. Russell T Davies does the same.
Yeah.
It's a working formula.
Yeah, and it's definitely a coincidence, but it is just pretty cool. Like both DC and Doctor Who have gotten back on track with creators who are using very similar sort of approaches.
Yeah. To be fair, they were the two that were like failing the hardest, so they needed to do something to get back up.
They've been in the gutter for like years now, and then suddenly they're back on track right around the same time. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that's it, guys. It's weird how writers are often ignored in American media, glorifying British media, like the director-writer appreciation ratio is basically reversed. I do find it very interesting. I don't really get why there is a difference there in like the two countries, but I do find it very weird. And me being from another country, I've always cared more about writers because I'm a writer myself. But yeah,
I think it's because of the Hollywood aspect. I think that's the main difference. We don't have a Hollywood type thing in the UK.
Right, because directors are more like big personality types in Hollywood, whereas in the UK it's not really that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. And also with TV and such, you have so many different directors, whereas the writers almost like a constant. Cardiff's a good shout, to be fair. Cardiff is very much a hotspot. But that was actually during the time Russell T Davies started becoming a household name as a writer. So even then, the writers, due to Cardiff, Cardiff exploded as well.
Anyway, I think that's it, guys. I think we're done for today. We covered the great new rock stars. Oh my god, can I please say one last thing? I promise I'll stop bringing your vibe down. Why do you get so offended? I won't use the term for people I don't even know. Okay. Because I'm trans and you're proving that you don't care about gender identity. Even if I wasn't trans, it's still a bad thing to do. You're being bigoted. Why do I care that you're being bigoted? Because I'm a good person.
I'm sorry, it's just his name. Don't come me.
I'll leave me out. Yeah. Anyway.
Why should we care if people are bigoted? Yeah, that's
a good question.
From a non-trans standpoint, and explain it from that point of view as best I can. Imagine you go, I don't know, your job is this. You're really proud of your job. You're really proud of it. And someone goes, your job isn't that. It doesn't matter. It's worthless. I don't respect your job and that. It makes you feel like shit and it makes you feel insecure. Now, that's just a small vector. That's like a tip of the iceberg for trans people where every day they're getting abused from all social media in the streets. They're getting beat up, stabbed, killed. Institutions are against them. Laws are against them. Just recently, there was a law that's passed for LGBT in general, but trans people are the most affected because they're the most targeted minority. Trans people are being compared as inherent school shooters. That's why this stuff matters, and that's why people get offended.
Well, the thing is, the mentality he's using is just they're using, I don't know the pronouns. The mentality they're using is simply of being like, oh, it's okay if you do it, just do it, in this the privacy of your own home. Like, do it just out of sight. I don't want to see you being gay. I don't want to see you being trans. Just do it. Just you're free to do it. I just don't want to see it. I just want to respect it. I don't want to take it seriously. Like, that is bigoted. I really don't think there's any way to say that it's not. So
yeah, it's like you're gonna kick up a fuss if it was done to you. Let's be real here. You would kick up a fuss if I said you cannot be. I'm gonna assume you're straight. Apologies if you're not, but let's say you are. And I'll be like, no, you've got to do that in your own home. You're going to be offended by that. You'll be like, oh, why are you demanding me to these constraints and stuff? It's
Yeah, like I can call myself a woman, but you are not gonna respect that I'm a woman. So I can be a woman in the privacy of my own home, but when I'm in public, people aren't gonna say that I'm a woman. So oh, that's great. I feel very happy about that. Thank you. Like that's just bigotry. You just not allowing myself to live. So whatever.
And there's the aspect of obviously gender dysphoria as well, and how that ties it to other mental health disorders like depression, anxiety, because of the byproducts of how gender dysphoria is perceived not only by general public, but also the effects it has. The fact of the matter is, if someone is also transitioning, they're going to be on stuff like hormonal treatment and such, which has great effects to their body and also mental state. So seeing these things can also be harmful. It's not difficult to just be kind. That's all you got to be. Just be kind. Be a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard. It's really not hard.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're good now.
Yeah.
I kind of expected this. A bunch of people joining our channel, being like, "Oh, hey, we don't know you're trans. Let's just be randomly transphobic." Especially knew it would happen because the last Flash video we posted was the the one with Nicole Maines and Dreamer. So kind of expected that. But hey, I'm very much okay with losing subs as long as they are if they are transphobic. I really don't care to lose subs in that sense. So fuck all of you who are transphobes, and we will catch you all next time. Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goldface.
Fuck off, transphobes.
Goldface.
Yeah.
Goldface.
Advocates say
Goldface
trans
supremacy.
rights.
Trans rights.
Hell yeah. Goldface.
Goldface rights.
Goldface rights.
Goldface rights. Goldface is pro-trans.
Goldface would obviously be pro-trans. He's the best.
Exactly.
Now I kind of want to, like, if the actor for Goldface is ever doing a convention, I want to meet with him and ask him to say trans
rights, yeah. Or pose with him in the trans flag or something. I would do that in a heartbeat.